All right, welcome back, everybody. It is Two Nerds Are Better Than One. My name is Ron Deasy. I got my co-host here,
Mr. Awesome.
and since we are back, like we never left, we have a special guest here. It's a good friend of mine, a fellow artist of mine, uh, Paradox Black, but I call him Dox Black. Welcome, Dox Black.
Yes, sir. Salute y'all. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate y'all having me on the show.
Yeah, so Mr. Awesome, this is Dox Black, fellow artist, sounds like artist. Met him years ago. We're not gonna say how many years ago, but years ago, through a mutual
Before
friend.
Ron Deasy had hair. That's when
Yeah.
Easy there. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we just kept in touch with him. I always try to keep in contact with my fellow sounds like artist, and he's a guy I much respect. This is not a hobby to him. He makes a living off of this. He's always have shows. He tours. He has so many albums. I think he drops an album every year, I think you said.
Yeah, this year has been the 10th year in a row. This
Woof.
artwork behind me is actually the most recent album, Age of Enlightenment. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you know what I mean? Like this has been 10 years in a row. And this year coming is going to be 11 years. So, you know what I'm saying? It don't stop, man.
Big congrats. And, I had to bring him out to reach the show we had in Reno. Actually, this is the second time I brought him out to Reno. And, I'm going to keep on bringing him back. But, just to come to find out, I was on Facebook and he made a interesting post about these Marvel series.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, okay. I and what he said, I was like, okay, I used to like him, but after this post, I'm not sure if I really like him. So we're gonna have a conversation. So let's just hit it off.
Okay.
All right. This is going to be interesting.
So me and Mr. Awesome, we kind of and Dox Black, this is my friend, Mr. Awesome. I met him years back, maybe before I met you, probably.
Okay.
Met him at Best Buy and we just hit it off, we have similar likes when it comes to like sci-fi movies and geeking out and stuff like that. And years after we met, I said, hey man, let's make a podcast, man. He's like, yeah, let's do it.
It took a while to get it going, man, but he kept talking about it, and eventually I was just like, dude, when are we gonna do this?
Right.
Like it was a good idea, because we would just talk for we could literally just talk for like hours if we wanted to about the stuff that we were watching and stuff like that. So we were like, we should just do this podcast.
Yeah, and Mr. Awesome also a gamer. He has a gaming channel, mostly on Twitch, but he has YouTube also. And
really trying to get my YouTube going for sure.
If you're into like fighting games, he does. Mm-hmm. Right now, he's what? You're Dragon Ball Fighters? Oh no, it's Street Fighter 6?
Street Fighter 6 is my main right now.
Just dropped. Yeah. Nice. That's what's up. I played the demo of that. I haven't played the full version, but I'm sure the shit is fire. Like,
it's very, very good.
Fire, and I can only imagine. Like, seriously.
Yeah, netcode is very good.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice. So me and him, we have a date soon that we're gonna first start off at Killer Instinct on the Xbox,
which just got an update after like 5-6 years, something like that. Wow. It literally got a balance patch after that long. It's crazy.
Yeah, so we're gonna do Killer Instinct, and then he said he's gonna get Mortal Kombat 1, which I've had.
Jeez.
And we're
you might as well download Virtual Fighter and fucking.
Oh, yeah, I never. Hey, I remember. Hey, the funny thing about that, you said the Sega Saturn was your favorite console, or was
Sega
it
Dreamcast?
Oh, okay.
Virtua Fighter was never my game though, man.
Yeah, it wasn't like too great. It's super early. I was a big fan of Tekken though.
Tekken, yeah,
Fighter,
I was into Tekken.
Mortal Kombat for sure. And obviously, we got to go with the, Marvel versus Capcom. You know what I mean?
That's my favorite. That's always Marvel Capcom's right behind me.
Number 2, Marvel vs. Capcom number 2. Yeah.
Oh, number 2, that soundtrack. I'm gonna take you for a ride.
Yeah, that you hate until it just grows on you. Then you love it.
I love that.
Hey, but I will say though, one of my favorite soundtracks for a video game of all time, for me personally, would have to be NBA Street Volume 2. That is for me probably the hands down
Oh
best soundtrack
wow.
ever. Now, a lot of it wasn't original music, like it wasn't original compositions like Mega Man and stuff like that, but it was
Mm.
definitely like, one of those, like it's like watching or it's like listening to a movie soundtrack that has all these classic hits on it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. NBA Street was
Yeah, I remember those
NBA Street
games.
classic.
2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember those were the games. Remember when like Enfield Blitz came out?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what
Yes.
those,
Or
those were those games.
SSX Tricky,
Yep.
the
Oh, the
snowboarding game,
snowboarding game?
SSX
Yeah.
Tricky. Oh
Yep.
man, that
Yup.
was a good one.
And then
That
what
was
was that?
that was
That
an
that was a
era.
golden age. That's
Yeah, that was a good era.
Tony
Def
Hawk.
Def Jam. What's
Oh,
called Def
all the
Jam?
Tony Hawk Underground, man.
Oh
Come
yeah.
on,
And then yeah, Def Jam Vendetta. That's a great
Def
one.
There we
Jam
go. Def
Vendetta.
Jam.
Yeah,
That's actually what I was
Vendetta,
thinking
yeah.
when you were thinking of like a soundtrack, like it wasn't original soundtracks, like but it
Yeah.
was like good songs. Like Def Jam Vendetta had like a lot of good ones, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so yeah, that's a little history between me and Mr. Awesome.
Nice.
So let's
Nice.
get back into what we came here for.
Okay.
So me
let's
and
get
Mr. Awesome.
into
Yeah,
it.
read this post.
Me and Mr.
Yeah,
Awesome.
where's
I
this
can't remember.
post
I can't
at?
remember the
Was it-
post.
Oh, well,
But
no,
I'm
no,
pretty
no.
sure-
I want to hear the exact post. Read it off for us, Dox.
I don't
like-
have
Let me
it.
see if I can. Let me see if I can find it. Real
Dox has
quick,
got it.
'cause
Okay, yeah.
I definitely
worry.
can pull it up on Facebook real quick.
Yeah. While he
Um,
finds it,
Yeah.
I commented, and it was along the lines of something like this. I said the MCU should have ended after Endgame,
Oof.
and Dox Black he disagreed.
Okay. Now here's the post, right?
Okay.
Now this post is in context to the show Loki. Okay. Now what I said was hands down Loki in season 2, naming that it just came out. Hands down, the Loki show is the best thing to come from Marvel since Endgame. Now, okay, Endgame.
Now wait. Was
was-
this before you
okay.
saw season 2?
No, I saw season 2.
Okay.
Loved it, me personally. Now everybody has obviously their own, perspectives on everything. But for me personally, I felt like when people say, they fell off at Endgame, it just lets me know that the experience that they had tied into Endgame and into Marvel was wrapped up and finalized so well that there was for most people who felt that way, like Endgame should have been the end of it, they were so invested and so tied into the Infinity Saga that they not only didn't see what else could be done, but also that it was like, okay, I got fatigue, I got superhero fatigue, completely worn out for all these long stories and all these superhero movies that are bringing everybody in, and they finally tied everything up with a nice bow and just leave it at that. And fair enough, some people could feel that way. Me personally, I felt like there was still a lot more stories to tell. Infinity Saga was done beautifully. The way that they ended it with Endgame was fucking magnificent, but it couldn't have ended there. There was so much open-ended stories, so many more stories to tell, so much more that Marvel offered beyond the Infinity Saga. So, with that being said, I felt like beyond Endgame, there was a lot that needed to be done, could have been done, and was done poorly.
Okay.
Mr. Awesome.
So basically, what you're saying is you think that the reason why some people don't like these newer shows is they just have superhero fatigue.
Some people, yes, absolutely. I feel like some people, it was just, I mean, that was like 16, 17 movies up until Endgame, so it's like it was just too much for some people. It's like I feel like a lot of people who, and not to say that you guys or either one of you guys are these people, but I know a lot of people who have expressed that same sentiment that Endgame it should have been done. They should have just like let it go at that point. But for me, I feel like maybe those fans were just casual fans or just along for the ride of what Marvel was providing, and that's great. Like the Infinity Saga, if that's where your comfort zone was, and you lived in that era, like you loved it, that's great. It had its ups and downs. It had its good movies and its bad movies. I actually just went back and watched a bunch of movies in the Infinity Saga, and the relevant ones to the story. I mean, obviously the one-offs, like the Ant-Man one, which is a very good movie. I didn't rewatch because it didn't necessarily tie in to the actual lineage of where Endgame ended off at. So I went back and rewatched it, and even being a fan of the majority of the movies, there was still some movies that I was like, this didn't age very well. Like for instance, the first Avengers movie, like it was kind of janky. Like going back and watching it, it was kind of janky. Like, and I really loved it at the time, but comparatively to like some of the future movies, it was just like, are people holding on to this because of the nostalgia, or do people look back at the Infinity Saga and like think about it in a certain way as opposed to just appreciating it for what it is? So to answer your question, maybe it might be superhero fatigue or just hero movie fatigue, but also I think that like going through that whole saga, I feel like people got a little drained of the extent of what Marvel was providing.
Okay. Um, I guess I could agree to that to like a small extent,
Mm-hmm.
but for me, and I mean, again, this isn't for everybody, but at the same time, I don't think it's superhero fatigue for most people. There may be some, but I think it's more because here's the thing: you say like they just were along for the ride for the Marvel ride, right? But when they first started
Some, sure.
the Infinity Saga, it wasn't even the Infinity Saga. It was just
Right.
Iron Man and Iron Man 2 and Hulk. And
Yeah.
Iron Man was so good that you got invested in that character. And then they
Mm-hmm.
went to Captain America. And Captain America was so good that you started to get invested in this character and you wanted to see more of his stories. It's not that way with some of these newer characters. Some people just do not care at all because they're not telling very good stories. And
Sure.
that's kind of what gets you more. You have to kind of more get invested in these characters and care
Mm-hmm.
about what happens to them. And to be perfectly frank, I don't think anyone gives a shit about what happens to She-Hulk at all.
Right.
And I think that people care a little bit more about what would happen to Wanda, especially after everything that she went through, a good arc and
Sure.
all that stuff. So
Sure.
WandaVision, to me anyway, was really good. I really enjoyed
Wanda
that.
was WandaVision was amazing.
Yeah.
WandaVision was top three Marvel shows that were released since Endgame. Now, I do want to say that um, these primary, when you think about like the Infinity Saga, one of the best things that they did was embrace the what would be considered like the primary colors of Marvel, whereas the first characters that they get people invested in are like some of the biggest characters in Marvel history and some of the original giant characters that Marvel was successful in executing. So the Iron Man, the Thor, the Hulk, those are like the most household name characters in
Sure.
Marvel comics, right?
Yeah.
So it would make sense that it would attach to people's interest that much more because they're that much more familiar to them. Now, when you bring up even the character of like a Moon Knight of something to a casual fan, they have no idea what the fuck that even is, or who that was, or the history, or any of that. And I think that goes with a lot of these
And I
characters
think
that they're
Moon Knight
now
was
that they're
pretty.
now
I mean,
introducing.
not perfect for sure, but it was decently done. And I
Very
thought they
very
made it.
interesting.
And I thought it made it interesting. Exactly. Like
Yeah.
even if you didn't know what the character was, you didn't
Hmm.
have to. I mean, it kind of explained what was going on, and in a really fun way to me, to be
Yeah.
honest. Like the guy wakes up and he's like tied to a bed. I'm like, what is going on? And then you start to see that like he's changing, like he's waking up out of nowhere and he's in like these weird situations, and you're like, okay, this is really cool. I don't know what's going on, but it's interesting to me, you know.
Yeah.
So I think they told that story decently enough where I enjoyed that one for sure. But like, what
You
what do you
know,
say to what? Let me ask you a question,
yeah,
because
sure.
this is a character that we were invested in and we loved for a long time. What did you think of Secret Invasion?
It was trash.
There you go.
Now, okay. So I will say, and I've expressed the sentiment to Ron DZ that um, every single show that's came out, there at least was something about it that I enjoyed or found interesting.
Well, you can find
Okay, and
almost joy in anything, but the fact
sure,
is that
sure, or like
when we watch
rewatchability,
these
maybe not.
movies,
Hmm.
the majority of them anyway, we enjoyed not just like, I like that one part. We enjoyed pretty much the whole movie, and we really enjoyed the character, and we really enjoyed the writing, stuff like that. I'm tired of this, man. Let me look for this sliver of what I like in this heap of garbage.
Sure,
Do you know what I'm
sure,
saying?
yeah.
So, and it's been like that for a little while now. She-Hulk's a lot of people didn't like. I took it for what it was, and there were
Hmm.
still some episodes that sucked, but there were a couple of really funny, enjoyable ones. But again,
Absolutely, absolutely.
but you could have made them all interesting. You could have made them
Right,
all good,
right, right.
and you could have actually not thrown
Well,
away a whole story because you don't know how to tell a story, and instead be like, you know what? Let's just trash it all. Let's just say that she is going to rewrite everything. The story
yeah,
doesn't matter. The plot doesn't matter.
yeah.
Like, okay,
I think it's hard to um have the same experience that we have from like a WandaVision or some of these good Marvel movies that we will every time. Not every movie. And see, this is the thing too. When I look back on the Infinity Saga, not every movie was a hit. Not every movie was a knockout the park.
no,
And
Thor was trash compared to all the rest
Thor
of them.
Thor Thor one
Thor
no no
two.
Yeah,
Thor 2 was pretty trash. I would say I liked number one because it was like an intro um movie that I felt was pretty well done, as opposed to like Captain America one. Like the first Avenger was the worst
I think
movie
I
that
might
I've
gonna
ever seen.
like Thor 2 better, only because there's a real big like tragic moment in it, and it
Sure,
really
sure,
made you kind of
absolutely.
feel for her, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And you see that,
The
and
mom
you really
dying,
get to
all the
see what
shit. Yeah.
Loki, like what his levels are too. You know what
Hmm.
I mean?
Hmm.
Because he
A
just like
lot of good
loses
character development. I think
exactly.
that's
So
a
I
big
would probably
part
say
to
I
it.
like Thor 2 better than Thor 1.
Yeah, I
That's
agree.
interesting.
First Avenger, Captain America was uh, the bottom.
The bottom.
Yeah,
It's arguably the worst Marvel movie
What?
in my list. In
First
my
Avenger?
list, the
yeah.
first Avenger.
I can't
It's the
agree with
most
that.
boring. In my opinion, me personally, it's the most boring movie that I've seen from Marvel.
Compared to Winter Soldier,
Well,
like that
that's
was a
different. That's
I fuck
huge
with
different.
Winter
leap.
Soldier
That's a
heavy.
huge
Civil
leap,
War
though.
too. Civil War was a
So,
great movie too.
yeah,
You
but I
know,
think Thor one.
as far as like even the levels of
Yeah.
Captain America movies
I'm sorry, but it's
that
not even
I
fair
would
to
go on one.
compare Captain America: First Avenger to Winter Soldier, because Winter Soldier's like the top 5 all-time Marvel movies, like
Right.
in
See, and
general.
that's what I'm saying. But see, if we're breaking it into sections, right, which we can do now that the Infinity War is tied up, we can look back and measure how these movies stand up against each other, which we can't do right now. Like we can kind of do it with the shows, but we don't really have a measure besides like obviously Loki has a couple seasons under his belt now, but pretty much all these seasons of shows that we've seen so far are just one-off seasons, and it's like, what is this shit? Like we kind of like it, we kind of don't. It's mostly trash. We're trying to find the good in it. We see what you're trying to do, but there's no
That's a problem.
connective
I
tissue.
don't see what you're trying to do.
Yeah, there's no real connective tissue yet. And see, that's the thing too, because as you said earlier, it wasn't an Infinity Saga to begin with. It was just a collection of movies that people that were really into, obviously that were really into Marvel, knew where they were going, especially with the secret endings and stuff like that. They really showed where they were going, but at the beginning nobody really knew, you know. So it was just like, are you enjoying this piece of film by itself? Like, did it stand alone as a solo, non-connective kind of entity,
Mm.
right? And so for the Infinity Saga, in retrospect, now we can kind of be like, okay, well, these movies were great, top 5, top 3, and some of these movies were trash. So I think with the multiverse saga, it's also that way as of now. Whereas like there's some top 5 hitters that have really came out of it, and there's some other shit like, what are we doing here? What is the purpose of this? Why are we doing this? You know?
All right, so everybody made some good valid points.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start somewhere. Let's start with what he said from his post. So, Mr. Awesome, what did you think about Loki season 2?
Season 2?
Yeah.
I really wasn't feeling it that much, to be
Wow.
honest.
Wow. Let's hear this.
I just remember.
Well, hold on. Let's pause. I'm gonna give some context. I don't know if this plays a part, but Mr. Optus has been let down over and over again, so he's kind of like jaded from Disney right now. He's been jaded. He hasn't liked the Star Wars shows that came out.
No. And not this time. Not this time. No. This is a little bit different. So, because remember I told you I like Loki season 1, right?
We both did.
And we were talking about it, and you said you really didn't like Loki season 1 that much because it was really confusing and stuff like that, right? Like all the different lingos and stuff that was kind of going on.
Yeah.
Right? This one was way more confusing than the first one. And that started to even throw me off. I'm like, wait, what am I? Okay, the weave, and then you got to put a thing in it to make it fit. Okay, and then you got time guy, but he can't speak correctly. And okay, so I don't know. And then at some point, it got a little bit better. I'm not gonna lie, but those first like few episodes really just were not that enjoyable to me at all.
Interesting.
There was even this chase that I thought was like really boring, even though a chase is supposed to be very exciting. When they were chasing them through the alleys and stuff or whatever, I was like, I don't know, man.
Right.
This doesn't really look very. I don't feel a.
Well, you know, and I agree. I feel like even in the first season, it took till like episode 3 before I was like, okay, this is a banger. Episode in the first season, episode 1 was like, okay, this is kind of dragging. I hope they go somewhere with this.
See, the first season, man, I was feeling it from beginning to end.
From the very beginning, really.
Yeah,
wow.
I thought it started off really well. It shows the part like where he first teleports, so you're not lost.
Sure, that was great. Yes,
right?
That was great that they continued.
And then you know he thinks he's gonna take her out, and she just like stops time and just whoops his ass immediately. And like I just thought it was hilarious.
Now I did like season 1. Not to say that I didn't like season 1, but I felt like it wasn't until he went through that door when they showed Sylvie and she had the door and she walked through it and then he followed her. Then I was like, okay, now we're cooking with grease. Honestly, to be completely honest with you, as much as I loved WandaVision, it wasn't until the 3rd episode till I was like, oh, now I see what we're doing. I see what creatively they're trying to do differently, and we're cooking with grease. You know what I mean? Like the first episode was like, okay, like I don't know what we're doing here. Like this is kind of cool. It's kind of interesting.
You're talking about WandaVision, right?
WandaVision, yeah.
WandaVision was very slow.
Just as a comparison, you know, it's like it was like, okay, what are we doing here? What's the point of this? Where are we going? And I felt that same way with Loki in the beginning, even though I really liked the idea, like, oh, okay, we're going to see this part that was a question for all of us. Yeah. So it's like,
as long as they make it interesting, though, you know, while they're doing it, I just feel like they're starting to lose that now.
Well, also, I think it ties in to all the questions that we have about the multiverse, and I think what they're doing with, especially with Loki, is making these events more of a connecting tissue than we all realize. I think with the Infinity Saga, we were thrown into these stories that seemingly had nothing to do with each other, and then all of a sudden the connecting tissue started forming. And I think with the multiverse saga, there's going to be these moments where we're scattered with all these different shows and all
Docs,
these
I think
different
you're giving him
ideas and
too much
characters.
credit, man.
Maybe,
Yeah,
maybe
I
that
really
might be
do.
true.
I think I'm
Yeah.
not gonna say that there's not some thread, but let me
Yeah.
tell you what, it took them a while to find this thread. They were just
Yeah.
throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Sure.
They're
Sure.
throwing
And
characters out because we need characters in this new universe and stuff like that. What, like, who is gonna like what, and some people would like them more if they were written better. They were more interesting.
Sure. Can't argue with that.
Yeah,
The
and the fact
writing
is,
has suffered.
yes,
I think a lot of that had to do with obviously the writer's strike and stuff like that. So we've had to work around a lot of that shit too.
well, I mean, the
like,
writer's strike is recent. This has been
Yeah.
garbage for a while. Like before the writer's strike, they're like, no, you know what? I know that we wrote some really terrible stuff, but why don't you pay us more and we'll keep writing terrible stuff? Like, okay, yeah, we'll do that.
Makes sense.
I mean, I'm sorry, Secret Invasion was out before the writer's strike even happened, I'm pretty sure. And
Yeah, I think it was
Secret
already
Invasion
filmed
is
and everything,
horrible,
yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, I told Dox Black the same thing. I was like, yeah, Loki, and remember, awesome. I was telling you, I was like, yo, I am getting confused about this timeline, this phase 4 or 5 that we're in is getting real confusing. Like, what really did it for me was Doctor Strange and the multiverse. Like, that was easy to catch on because it was just separate universes, right?
Right.
There's different universes, but Loki was like, oh no, well no, yeah. So Doctor Strange was kind of easy to catch on until like the end. At the end credit, I still don't get what was happening. Like that lady came out of nowhere. She's like, oh yeah, you caused a variant or whatever. I'm like, oh no. She's using the lingo from Loki. I'm like, oh, this is they're losing me. And then awesome, like you said, for Loki 2, like Loki 1 was already hard to keep track of. Loki 2 just threw a curveball, and I'm like, wait, this is Machine out there now?
Yeah.
Oh wait, Docs had to explain this to me. I was like, how did Loki get these powers? Did he always have these powers? What is he strong as Kang now, or what is going on here?
I think what's happening is with the introduction, and I think it's pivotal to understanding what we're doing in the multiverse saga. In understanding the last episode of Loki season 1, I think that really is the moment where it all starts to come together. Now, it doesn't explain everything. Now, obviously, it did get kind of confusing, and obviously, these other movies kind of take their own direction with the multiverse, like No Way Home did, and Multiverse of Madness did. But I do think that it's important for people who just watch the movies to watch some of these shows to be connected to what's really going on. Now, the last episode of Loki season 1 really talked about obviously the sacred timeline and how that's been our exposure to Marvel and what we've come to understand. The sacred timeline. They push that in our heads. Yes, we get it. Sacred timeline. But now that that's splintered off and that's like creating all these other things that we're now seeing, right? What's important to understand is that this is all happening outside of time. The TVA exists outside of time.
Yeah.
So everything that we're experiencing as far as like the movies and all this shit that's a part of the sacred timeline is different from what we're experiencing in Loki. So I think that Loki season 1 and season 2 are very important to connect everything that doesn't seem like it's has anything to do with each other.
And I won't disagree with that. I'm just saying all the other stuff. Like, there's a lot of things that are just out there, again, just to be out there. It's
Right.
not to connect
Right.
anything.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
and like you said, Miss Awesome, like there's a lot of things out there.
Right.
Like, so Loki is talking about the timelines, right? If you look at Moonlight is talking about like the gods.
Yeah.
If you look at Secret Invasion, they're talking about the scrolls. you have all these plots happening in these phases, phase 4, phase 5,
Right.
and you're like, wait, so what is the end game here? In the Infinity Saga, we knew what the end game was. We knew it was Thanos at the end. That was the
Did we
main
though?
boss.
When did we find that
No,
out
no, no.
though?
You not in the beginning. Like you definitely didn't know. I mean,
We knew.
I don't know about you guys, but I didn't know that the Tesseract was an Infinity Stone.
Okay, so
Did you guys know that? Like when you first saw it?
No.
Yeah.
No.
By
Honestly,
I had no idea.
I didn't know
I had no idea the
until
Mind
Thanos
Stone was
crushed
in
it.
the wand.
Yeah.
His little staff. I didn't know that either. I just, for a while,
so
the only thing you know, and you know that it's an Infinity Saga, is when you finally see Thanos.
so in
That's after Avengers 2, right?
no. So Avengers 1.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right.
Phase 1.
Right at the end. Right at the end.
Yeah.
That's right.
But I think if you guys, I mean, if maybe people knew, maybe people didn't, but in Thor you see the gauntlet, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
So
that's not.
maybe people did. Maybe people that I immediately knew like, okay, cool. Maybe Thanos is going to be here.
Yeah.
But at Avengers, that was confirmed. Like confirmed that okay, Thanos is going to be the guy at the end.
Yeah, because
this is what's all building up to.
Pretty sure too. I heard
Thanos,
that gauntlet
Thanos,
was fake.
Not Thanos. This Thanos.
Yeah, it's just a fake.
Yeah. So so we have that, right? But
yes.
if we look at phase 4 and phase 5 so far, we have Black Widow. Black Widow is his own spinoff, right? Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
What is Shang-Chi? We don't know what Shang-Chi is going to have to do with anybody.
And that's what I'm saying. Okay, so here's
Eternals
a good example.
too. Eternals is a okay. What does Eternal have to do with this? Because they're bringing up the Eternals,
Celestials, and
the
all
Celestials,
that,
right?
Yeah. I mean, okay. So I'll put it like this, right? When we watched Thor 2, right? And we saw when we saw the ether and all that shit, right?
Dark elves, yeah.
But specifically the ether in connection to the Infinity Stones. There was no way to know that the ether
the reality
wasn't.
Yeah.
There was no way that we would have known that was a Infinity Stone or even connected to everything else. So there's, in my opinion, right now, there's no real way to tell, no solid way to tell what the connecting tissue is in some of these events. Now, mind you, I am asking myself the same questions that you guys are, as far as like, what are we doing? Why does this matter? Right? As far as the bigger picture, why does this matter? And I've had that same feeling when it came to different shows and movies that have came out since Endgame, right? But I will say that the tiers of what we're dealing with now post Endgame are much more well defined than the Infinity Saga. Now, what I mean by that is now we have now we have like the space tier with Captain Marvel and Guardians of the Galaxy. That's the space tier, right? Then we have like the multiversal tier, which is like now, Ant-Man and Loki and even Doctor Strange, right? Dealing with the multiverse. Then we have like the planetary Earth tier, which is like, the Secret Invasion, the Falcon and Winter Soldier series. And it's just like the way that they're releasing it might be hurting the continuity of what we can expect the end to be, because it's always like they'll drop something and then they'll drop something that has nothing to do with it and drop something that has nothing to do with that and then drop something that has nothing to do with that and then come back and drop something. You know what I mean? Like even like Falcon and Winter Soldier, which I did feel like had its good moments and then had its some boring moments.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It placed that in its location, right, of the tiers, placed it, and then it moved on to space and then finally came back with Secret Invasion. And this is the issue too that I'm finding, is that like when they came back to it, like with Secret Invasion, it was done so poorly that now you don't even feel like it's has anything to do with like the planetary tier. You know what I mean? So
Right,
like I
right.
feel like the continuity is a little skewed and it's a little sporadic to say the least. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I could agree with you on that. But I guess you could say like since I I want to say like we know what to expect because it's been done before, right? They're saying that, and I get when did we first learn about Kang? We learned about Kang in
I mean,
Loki.
realistically,
Loki.
the first one, yeah,
Loki.
Loki.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so but
He
in
he who
Loki,
remains.
Loki was what phase was that? Loki was
4.
phase 4 and beginning of phase 4.
Phase 4, yeah.
So we've had,
Yeah, it was after WandaVision.
and
Yeah.
then we already know, and then Marvel has already showed us that there's going to be a Kang Dynasty 1 and 2, right, or something like that, or
Yeah, in the Comic-Con release, sure, yeah. Or no, there's Kang Dynasty and then Secret Wars.
so it's like they better do something good quick, because I don't see how, and maybe they'll surprise us. I don't see how Shang-Chi will have anything to do with Kang, Eternals, Hawkeye, Moon Knight, Miss
Okay.
Marvel. Well, I haven't seen the new Marvels, but Miss Marvel, I don't see
Okay.
how that has to do with Kang.
Well,
Yeah.
some
Thor: Love
sort
and
of
Thunder.
the power within those 10 rings that he has something to do with all of it.
That part.
Black
For
Panther,
sure.
Wakanda Forever. I think
Yeah.
I don't know if we should be count that.
To touch on the Shang-Chi idea, it was interesting that in Quantumania, the rings that were circulating Kang's machine and his tower and his travel device reflected what the rings look like, how it was like
Yeah, same
rings
thing with the
and it had glowing
Eternals.
writing on it. Same thing with the Eternals, very
Yeah.
circular. You know what I mean? Where I've actually heard different things, like the Celestials, for instance, because Kang has his hands into everything that's happened in the sacred timeline. It includes the Celestials, and there's word that maybe he used the Celestials to kill off certain timelines and certain universes, but that's neither here nor there. We don't know yet, right? But I do think that there is a correlation, that an underlying correlation that we're not completely aware of. Same things with the Bengals. Like the Bengals could either be the nega bands or they could be the quantum bands, whatever it is, in relation to what
Well,
they
that's
were in the
probably
comics.
explained in the Marvels, but I haven't watched the Marvels.
Oh yeah, yeah. I watched the Marvels. It was entertaining. It wasn't spectacular. It was definitely entertaining, and they did not um, explain what the Bengals represented. They connected them, but they didn't explain it. It wasn't like they were like, oh, these are the Nega bands or these are the Quantum bands. They didn't do that. They didn't connect it to like Shang-Chi or anything like that. So
Mm.
they're kind of like standalone right now. But as far as like some of those shows that you're mentioning, like the Hawkeyes and stuff like that, and how that
I
all
really liked
connects.
Hawkeye. I mean,
You know what? I enjoyed Hawkeye for what it was. I like the character. I like Jeremy Renner, and
I don't think
I
it really has
definitely
anything to do with what's going in the Marvel universe, except for the
right.
fact that Kate Bishop is now in the Marvel universe, and she's a good
Yes,
character.
and the
I
Young
actually like
Avengers,
that character.
the Young Avengers. That's something that's been um, developed right under our noses are the Young Avengers. They basically introduce all the Young Avengers that they need so far. And in the comics, White Vision is the one who put together Young Avengers. In WandaVision, we're like,
Really?
where the fuck did Vision go? But in the comics, White Vision is actually the one who put together the Young Avengers. So maybe that's what he's doing. They've introduced all of them so far. Kate Bishop, what Isaiah, what's his name from Falcon and Winter Soldier,
Well,
the
there's supposed
original
to be a Vision
Falcon.
at some point, Vision
Yeah,
Quest or
Vision
something
Quest.
like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and
which
maybe that's
I'm
what it
actually
is.
more excited about than other things that they're trying to do right now.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, that could
and
be
and
cool if they
and
do it
again,
right. The problem is that I'm not as excited for anything anymore because
right.
the the last things that have been coming out just are they're just
that should
not
have been
good.
great. Weren't
Like,
great. Yeah, Secret Invasion could have been done so much better.
oh my god,
It
I
was
was
like
so
almost a
excited for Secret
waste.
Invasion. It's just like a
So
hot
excited.
mess.
So excited for like the mystery of it, like who's a scroll, who's not,
There
how
was
long have they
barely
been a
any of that
scroll?
either, which is like the
Barely.
worst
I mean,
part.
Rhodey was cool. Like, now after watching Secret Invasion, it does put a question in your mind, like how long was Rhodey a scroll? Like, things like that. But it didn't do it to the degree that the magnitude that it should have been done.
No,
in the
no,
comics.
definitely not.
And I think Hollywood plays into that too. Like, it's hard to try and translate these big events that happen in the comics that span years into like a 6-week series or 6-episode series or something like that. You know what I mean? It's like it should have been a movie. Secret Invasion should have been a movie. Should have been an Avengers level movie.
See,
And
here's the thing. No,
crazy.
okay. So you're saying it should have been a movie. That's even
Maybe.
harder.
Yeah, I don't
that's
know.
less
I don't know
time.
what could have made that better, honestly.
Honestly, it should have been a 12-part series or something like that, and it should have been a
Maybe
lot of,
something, yeah.
and it should have been
Better
a lot of
writing.
focusing on almost like not really like a who done it, but like who's who
is
type
it?
of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And like little subtle hints of maybe they're acting weird, and maybe like it's a
Right.
throw off and stuff like that. Like that. My wife is like almost just out for Marvel. She's done. The only thing she'll go and see now whenever it comes out is Spider-Man, because Spider-Man so far hasn't been fucked up.
Yeah,
and they better not.
Well, Madam Web's about to come out, so
well, that's different. That's like a spin-off of Spider-Man or whatever. I mean, that's like saying Hawkeye sucks now because Echo's coming out, which I'm pretty sure is gonna suck. Because they're releasing them all at the same time, so they're just trying to get like a ratings bump for it for like real quick, and then.
But isn't that supposed to be like a Marvel spotlight? It has like nothing to do with.
It has to do with Kingpin.
The MCU. No, so I read that Marvel is going to do this new thing to where it's going to be called Marvel Spotlight, to where it has nothing to do with the MCU. Just like how James Gunn is making his new DCU, but like the Batman is going to be considered like elsewhere, like it has nothing to do with
Elseworlds.
Elseworld. They will,
or like the Sony verse, like the Sony Spider-Verse type shit. But the thing
Echo
about it is
taking place right after whatever happened in Hawkeye.
Exactly, and just like the comics, they're keeping with certain continuities that happen. Like Echo shoots Kingpin. Kingpin survives, and yada yada yada. I don't know what's going to happen in Echo.
Supposedly, Daredevil's going to be in there somewhere.
I could give a shit less about Echo as a character, but I think the surrounding story is
going to be
worthwhile. Only to see characters like Daredevil. Daredevil was a great series. The Netflix Daredevil. And don't even get me started on the Netflix fucking Marvel shows, because there literally was only a couple good ones. And I really enjoyed Daredevil. I really enjoyed Punisher, but like the storylines that they took, it was just like, why does this matter? Is it even canon for the MCU?
No. It was just supposed to be something that was happening otherwise. Because they even said they reference like the incident in New York and stuff like that.
Right.
That's the farthest they would go with it. But that doesn't change the fact that fucking, especially in Daredevil, I mean, and I think even Jessica Jones was really good. The writing is very, very good.
Jessica Jones was interesting.
I don't see how Jessica Jones had 3 seasons, right?
The first 2 seasons were great. The third
season was a little lackluster.
I liked Luke Cage, but mostly because of the music in it. I mean, the storyline was kind of shaky. The villains were a little shaky, but
my wife really enjoyed Jessica Jones.
Yeah, and see, that's another part too. It's like, obviously we got to be inclusive. Obviously, the women forward characters are important to be inclusive to people who aren't just like guy nerds. And
trust me when I say that is not my wife. No, she liked it because she was a badass, and she was smart, and she was slick tongue. She was very witty.
Yeah, she was very witty. I like Jessica
Yeah,
Jones's
she's a good
personality for
character
sure.
in general. Like, she's just a well-written character, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So, and she
Yeah.
liked her. But yeah, these other women, she doesn't like them. She fucking
Yeah,
hates
I mean,
Captain Marvel.
yeah, Captain Marvel's a bad character. But in all reality, I think that the newer shows that are going
But
to
you're right, dude. They're
incorporate
doing
some
this
of those other
inclusive shit a lot. And that's another
Yeah.
problem that I think is happening. They're trying to check all these boxes.
Mm.
And when you do
Oh,
that,
yeah.
you're taking away from other things that you could be doing. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
the fact that, and I don't
or
understand this. Why
better
did
development.
the guy who loves the TVA, is devoted to the TVA the whole time, steps aside and only the women are chilling in the room? They're looking over the TVA now. The one man who's like been there the whole time, he's just, I'm leaving, stepping down. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of this going on, and it's not just Marvel. It's Star Wars. It's Indiana Jones.
I'm about to watch that tonight.
It's everywhere. It's in everything Disney.
It's a hard balance because, like, okay, I mean, okay, I really don't want to get into this conversation.
Why not?
Because, well, no, not this conversation, but the topic that I'm about to bring up right now, I don't really want to get into, but I definitely think that it does touch on what we're talking about, is how mad some people were at the Little Mermaid becoming black. I think I understand why people were upset by it, but for the longest time, that type of inclusivity wasn't even an option. So I feel like it is important to have
I don't know.
inclusivity.
I mean, okay. I'm not upset that she was black or anything like that, and I never saw the movie, to be honest. So because
me neither.
To be honest,
totally
all these live action Disney
not missing
things,
nothing.
I can't stand them. I never cared about any of them. I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any that I would even want to see. Like,
I think Beauty and the Beast was like the best one.
I think that obviously inclusivity is important, but I do think that it's also important to.
It's an important to, like, okay, I'm not gonna say it's not important at all, but at the same
Right.
time, there's a line you have to draw, and if there's someone more talented to do the job, then maybe you should have that other person do the job.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
And
Absolutely.
the fact is, they're not really doing that anymore. They're just checking that box. Oh, this is a female movie, it's got to be a female director. You know what I mean? That type of stuff, and that doesn't need to happen.
Yeah, it doesn't help the story building. It doesn't help the overall viewpoint of the fans and what they're trying to see. I definitely agree with that.
And it's hurting the product. That's all it is.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Because the first thing that popped to my mind when Dox Black said about Little Mermaid being black now, was that,
which I'm fine
nobody said anything when Nick Fury was Samuel L. Jackson, and I'm used to Nick Fury being white.
Sure.
There's a I can't remember if there's a Shield movie with who's the guy from Knight Rider?
With Is
it David?
With David Hasselhoff.
Oh, David Hasselhoff.
Yeah, he was Nick Fury. Yes.
Yeah.
He was
really?
I'm used to him in the comics being Nick Fury being white.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then,
but nobody said anything about Samuel L. And
nobody said anything at all.
That's because he's a good actor, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that plays more into
Didn't
it.
Wait, so remember a long time ago too, I don't know if it was before the MCU started, but there was the Ultimate Universe, like Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate X-Men. I think in the Ultimate Universe, Nick Fury was black, but I don't know if that came out before the MCU.
It was after.
It was after. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Because I watched that whole series. That was a good series for the Ultimate Spider-Man.
Oh, dude, I have every one of those.
Yeah.
I actually own every one of those.
But let's get back to the MCU. So you're actually, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dox, you're actually enjoying the movies or series after Endgame?
Okay.
Or you appreciate
He's just
them?
trying to look for the positive.
I'm definitely looking for the positives, but there are ones
but here's the thing, you shouldn't have to. You should just be able to enjoy them. Like, this is the problem, dude. And
absolutely.
I just, you can keep hanging on all you want. I'm not gonna lie, I'm trying to watch them at the same time, but I'm not gonna give them the same leeway that I've been giving them anymore. I'm sick of it,
Now,
and I'm gonna
sure,
tell them that I'm sick of it, and they're dude, it's happened. They know that whatever they're doing ain't working.
The viewership
they're
is going down.
they're
Yeah,
going
for
broke.
sure.
Dude. I mean, well,
Yeah,
obviously not going broke. They're Disney, but they
Far
are
from being
losing
broke,
money hand over fist.
Yeah, they're hemorrhaging money for sure.
Wait, hold
Yeah.
on. I want Doc to finish my
Okay.
question.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so I think that what happens and what has happened since Endgame specifically is that it was such a crescendo of excellent storytelling and visual execution that now people have expectations that are through the roof. I think when Infinity Saga first started,
Realistic expectations.
realistic. I mean, see, and this is what I'm saying. Like when Infinity Saga first started, the expectations were not there. You know, we got into each movie, appreciated for what it's worth, and some were better than others. But it was still like we were watching it for what it was. It wasn't like watching it for the connective tissue yet at that point when we were just first, the first half of the Infinity Saga. It was like we were just enjoying it for
Yeah, you
what it was.
basically
And I
want,
think,
it's a popcorn movie, right?
yeah, absolutely.
You
And I think people have
just
kind of
enjoy
lost
it. Like,
that.
I want to see some superheroes beat each other
Right.
up and stuff. Yeah, sure.
Right. And I think people have lost that. I think people now have these grand expectations, which rightfully so. They've established an amount of expectations that I don't think they can meet with every single movie. Not every single movie is going to be Endgame. Not every movie, not every movie in the Infinity Saga was Endgame. So how could the expectations remain at the level of Endgame moving forward? I can't. That's not realistic in my mind.
It doesn't have to be Endgame level.
It doesn't have.
But it could be. It could be first Avenger level. It could be.
I really hope it would never get.
It could. No. Well, none of them are.
Please.
They're all lower than that.
Here's two things, right?
They've been trashed for.
I would not.
Dude, Kang lost to ants.
Yeah, but did he though?
Yeah, he did.
Did he though? I don't know if he did though.
Two things though. Two things. What Dox Black said. So I don't think every movie has to be Endgame, but we could say that a lot of the movies that came out,
there has to be a standard though. That
they were
good.
They were good.
They have to be Thor 1.
I'm looking at all the movies. They were good. Phase 3 had a Phase 2 was all right, but they were good, right?
And even these newer characters that you introduced in those phases, right? Ones that weren't the main hitters.
1 second. There's one thing I just looked at. Could it be possible that the pandemic kind of did something to maybe the movies or the viewership? Because
the pandemic was when they started focusing on streaming, because people were all locked in the house and they could only stream, and that's where the money was. So it's like, okay, we're going to shift now from the big blockbuster going out into the world and going to a theater, anticipating the big theater blockbuster, to now staying home and absorbing these shows differently. And that's one thing that I will say about these shows, is that they have different approaches than ever before. Whereas these shows some of the shows are kind of like movies, but some of the shows that Marvel is releasing are television. It's like straight television shit.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you there, man.
It's not.
The pandemic didn't have them focus on streaming. They were already gonna focus on streaming. The plan to come out for WandaVision and Loki that they announced at Comic-Con was, I think, in 2020, before even the pandemic hit. Or no, 2019.
I'm looking at the years, right? Endgame and Far From Home both came out in 2019.
Right. Exactly.
And then there was a 2-year gap. Then WandaVision came out. There was no Marvel movies in 2020. And then WandaVision came out in 2021.
Yeah, it definitely slowed production.
Like February, right?
But they were already planning on doing streaming, so that it's not because of the pandemic. They may have gone more harder into streaming. That's possible, but they definitely had a plan, because Disney Plus was like, they thought it was going to
Just
be like their
started.
golden egg. You know what? Or sorry, their gold, whatever you want to say, golden chicken, golden egg, whatever. But the fact is, they thought that was going to be like killer. They really wanted to go in on that because they thought it was going to make them a ton of money, and they needed subscribers. And Marvel was like one of their hottest properties, so they went to a
Marvel, Star
specific
Wars.
Marvel streaming series that you could only get if you subscribe to this thing. So it wasn't, but the pandemic did slow some production of things for sure. I'll say that.
Yeah, or even just slow the ability to for people to go out and spend money and interest and time at these blockbuster events that were outside of the house when you couldn't go outside of the
I
house.
gotta disagree with that too, man. Because if you look at what's going on with all the movies, if you look at when Spider-Man
Movies
No
or
Way Home
shows?
came out, people went and saw that movie.
Sure.
Other
Yeah,
garbage they may
now.
not have wanted to go see. And I'm not even, you know what, I'm not even gonna say it's garbage because I actually enjoyed some of those movies. I like Shang-Chi and I enjoyed Eternals for what it was. Like
Eternals
mid.
was a fun ride. Yeah, it was mid at best, but
Eternals
it
was unexpected. I unexpectedly liked that. I was like, oh, this is not bad.
Yeah.
A lot of people said it was bad. I was like, no, this was
No,
actually
I didn't think it
good.
was bad.
Yeah.
But it wasn't because of the pandemic that people weren't coming out to see these movies. They just weren't interested in them. Because No Way Home came out and everyone went and saw that movie, dude. It broke records and stuff.
Sure.
So
Did that come
and that
out?
was
That came out before the
that was a
pandemic.
nostalgia play. I definitely feel like
No Way Home? No, No Way Home came out during the pandemic.
Oh my! No, it came out before the pandemic, right?
No Way Home? So we took just a quick break just to research that. DZ, want to tell them what you found?
Yes. I stand corrected. I was saying that
Homecoming.
No Way Home came out before the pandemic, but it was actually Far From Home.
Yeah.
That came out before the pandemic. No Way Home came out in 2021.
That's right. Right during the pandemic, but everyone went and saw it. Because they cared.
No Way Home. Right. Yeah. And when I say that was a nostalgia play, you know, the idea that they brought in all these past characters that people love. People love Tobey Maguire. People love Andrew Garfield. And
they didn't even know they were going to be in it.
I mean, I don't know. It was the buzz around.
That was a rumor, but no one knew for sure.
Rumors. There were a lot of rumors.
There was a lot of.
I felt like I knew. I don't know. Some of the
compelling
nerds
footage,
you know,
compelling evidence that they're
people
going to be in
went
there
because they cared about that character and they cared about that movie, and they didn't
They
go
care about
because
the
they
villains,
don't
no.
care about.
You think if Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire weren't in that movie would have did as well as it did? There's no way.
No, I'm not going to say that, but I will say that it still would have done better than those other movies that came out.
Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, I think Multiverse of Madness did real well, and they executed well on that movie.
Yeah, Black Widow. Yeah.
Black Widow was
Black Widow was a little bit,
Eternals.
Eternals too. That it's funny. It's funny that
Thor.
Eternals. Thor did well.
Thor was a letdown. Love and Thunder. The only reason why it probably did well because they thought it was going to be just as good as Ragnarok.
Right.
Dude, my wife actually told me to turn it off.
Wow.
Love and Thunder?
Yeah. Do you know that part when the kid
movie.
was like refusing to be called his given name? He wanted to be called a different name now. She was like, "That's it. I'm done."
Yeah.
She was pissed.
Yeah, I think what happened, in my personal opinion, I think what was happening in those and up to this point is that every single Marvel movie, now as far as the movies goes, now it's obviously different for the shows and for the movies. In my opinion, I felt like they were trying different genres. Like I felt like Multiverse of Madness was the Marvel horror genre.
That was definitely a horror.
It was like a horror.
Well, I mean, they brought in Sam Raimi.
Heavy air quotes.
So
yes, Sam Raimi. You know the.
But it was like fun, campy horror.
It was like an Evil Dead type of horror, quote unquote, and air quotes, heavy with the air quotes, horror. Just like I felt like Love and Thunder was like the rom-com You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like it was different types of movies that they're trying to push. And I think that in itself is Marvel trying to try these different demographics that are interested, but like don't always watch those kind of movies. So like for the multiverse of madness, if you weren't into like the Evil Deads and you weren't into like the kind of pseudo horror kind of thing, it wasn't for you. For the Love and Thunder, if you weren't necessarily like into like the date movie kind of rom
And
commy
in
kind
turn, in
of,
doing this,
you know,
you've basically turned off
alienated,
your main
yeah, your
audience, the
core
ones who
audience. Yeah,
gave you the most money.
sure,
And
sure. And yeah, I agree with that.
yeah, so they just need
but
to.
but I think also what happened in like the Infinity Saga, for instance, once people started realizing that these things were popular, and this happens with anything in pop culture, when people started realizing how popular these things were, then it was more appealing to people. Like people weren't on Iron Man and Thor the way that nerds were from the very beginning. It was only until it started becoming more popular that people actually jumped on it. Like I'm sure we were into it from the beginning, but I
Hmm.
feel like people, not everybody was into it the way that we were from the
Oh,
very beginning.
sure. No, I
You
would agree
know,
with that. Word spreads and stuff like that. But
yeah.
let me ask you this, Dux. What do you think they're gonna do to start making this good again? You're holding on to the hope.
Mm,
I want to
mm,
know what you think they're gonna
mm.
do.
Okay,
Because if they
so
keep doing what they're doing, it ain't gonna do nothing.
okay, no, I feel it. And you know what? But while I answer that question, I want to circle back to the introduction of new characters. Okay, I think one of the reasons why Guardians of the Galaxy did so well and Eternals didn't is because of story writing.
Yeah,
Those are both two scenarios where nobody really knew anything about it. I'll be honest, I didn't really know anything about Guardians of the Galaxy when it first came out. Like didn't really read those comics. I kind of, Star Lord was a little familiar as far as what the character
I
looked like,
knew nothing.
but I pretty much knew nothing about any of the other supporting cast. And so the way that they executed that was very well done, as opposed to something like the Eternals, which wasn't as well done. Eternals was okay, but it wasn't as well done. And I think what they did was they tried to make up for the lack of well written stories with star power, right? And that's like shooting
Diversity.
yourself, and that's shooting yourself in the foot. Diversity and star power alone can't save a movie. It has to be well written. So to answer your question, I think that they have to get back to the writers being the first, um, the main focal point of these stories in these movies. Like that's one of the reasons why I feel like Loki did as well as it did, and She-Hulk didn't do as well as it did. Besides the obvious CGI flaws and lack that She-Hulk had, even though She-Hulk had its moments of entertainment and like comedy, which
Yeah,
was
like I said,
entertaining.
there were some episodes that I
There were some
enjoyed.
episodes. No, honestly, like the very first episode of She-Hulk was fucking amazing. The CGI
Mhm.
that they did, the way they brought in Hulk,
Well,
the
they
whole
did that on
storyline.
purpose too. Apparently, the original plan wasn't to do that, and then they're like, "No, we have to do this. We have to give them Hulk stuff and things, so they won't watch
Yeah,
anything."
and they hooked
So,
they bait and
Gotcha.
switched us. They
yeah,
bait and switched us. For
yeah.
real. But
It's
but
so funny you
it
talk about the writing too, because they basically said, "You know what?
yeah
We don't need to write anything. Let's just say that it's
yeah.
over. We're done."
And if you're familiar with some of the techniques that Marvel adopts, that's basically what they do. They'll just do a bunch of CGI stuff, and then they'll build the story around it. Like, you know what I mean? They'll do like the big scenes first, the big CGI scenes first, and then they'll be like, oh well, maybe we can fit this in and fit that in. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So it's not always a full um, package with these movies and these shows. You know what I mean? So I understand that there has to be a balance, and there has to be good story writing, there has to be good CGI, there has to be a good execution and good build up. I think one of the things that No Way Home benefited from was the fact that they were really pushing that um, they were really pushing it. They were really advertising it. They were really going out and doing a promo for it. Promo is the word I was looking for. They really promoted the shit out of that movie. And Captain Marvel, they didn't have a chance to promo it because everybody was on strike. Nobody really heard anything about it. There was nobody on promo tour talking about this shit, this and that, as opposed to like something like Loki. Even Loki season 2, Tom Hiddleston was everywhere. Tom Hiddleston was talking about this show left and right, and there was a lot of anticipation for it. So I feel like if you have proper buildup, proper story, proper execution, that's going to be what saves Marvel.
Okay.
And obviously big budget fucking CGI fucking you can't not have all this money and not spend it where it needs to be. And CGI is one of those things that you can't skimp on.
I don't care that much about CGI as long as there's a good story to tell. They could could put like particle effects in there. There's actually a good story
maybe
and stuff.
is the wrong word, because like for instance, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was spectacular. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was the best Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and easily stamped itself as the best trilogy in Marvel's history. Undeniable. The 3 movies of Guardians of the Galaxy were the best trilogy, the best 3-movie trilogy in Marvel's history.
I was gonna say Captain America, but the first Captain America,
the first one was trash.
Kind of hurt the trilogy. Yeah.
The trilogy isn't there. But as far as trilogies go, that was a very well executed one, and it had a good amount of CGI. But obviously, it also had different things like good prop sites, or good stages that they worked off of and stuff like that. So it's not just CGI; it's also like how well the makeup's done and special effects in general. I think CGI is just too limiting as of a term. I think just special effects in general. I think Disney has so much money to spend. They just have to spend it in the right areas,
I think Disney has 2 more chances. You know what those chances are? Actually, maybe 3. Deadpool.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
Fantastic Four.
I guess.
And X-Men. Those are your 3 shots. And if you fuck those up, that's it.
Well,
wait,
I'm not stoked on Fantastic Four. I can't be. I don't know.
But a lot of people like that comic. Maybe you don't.
Absolutely.
It's a very popular comic.
But as far as like the history of the movie executions, I can't have my hopes up for Fantastic Four. Yeah, I can be pleasantly surprised.
Exactly. And what if you are?
I can't have my hopes high.
I can't have my hopes high for Fantastic Four. Like, I really liked what they did with Silver Surfer.
You didn't have any hopes for Guardians either, but it was written well.
It was written well.
Exactly.
And I think maybe that ties into
what I'm saying. You got 3 chances to write this stuff where we care about these characters and not just do fluff and crap and try to do inclusivity and all that stuff over writing and things, which is the most important thing. So you got Deadpool, which Ryan Reynolds almost left. So we know there was a problem there. Yeah, he had an issue way back when. This was like 2 years ago. So whatever they got done, they got it resolved. So that's one.
I heard that they're going to have Elektra in it. If you go to the Internet Movie Database website, Elektra is credited
in what?
And I'm okay with that. 3? I liked Elektra.
Oh, Deadpool 3 is going to have a bunch of cameos.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Because he's going everywhere. So
yeah, he's going everywhere. We're gonna.
I heard X-23 might be in there.
Yeah, we're gonna see the older characters. We're gonna see probably Daredevil. We're gonna see a bunch of classics. Now, obviously, in my opinion, I feel like one of the chances that that Marvel really has is Secret Wars. Okay, Secret Wars was such a big, huge, ginormous.
You'd be
crossover.
Right if they actually cared about all the characters that are going to be in Secret Wars.
Sure.
And that's the problem now.
I think what they're going to do is bring in all they're gonna bring in the nostalgia characters that people did care about. Like they're going to bring.
That's
in
that they're scared, because I guarantee they really didn't want to do that much.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like that's why they absorbed all the the Fox network and worked with Sony the way they have so that they can lead towards something where they can bring everybody in. You know how many dollars they gained from bringing in the nostalgia plays on No Way Home. They know that. They see how excited people were once news broke out that they were in it. People, even more people came to see it.
But
So
the
the fact
reason
that
why
like
No
they
Way
could bring it in,
Home was as good of a movie as it wasn't because of the cameos. It was nice to
I
have,
don't know.
but the story was really good. I think in No Way Home,
I
the
think
way
the
that
cameos-
the way
good, but
that
the
they
cameos
twisted
just
it,
as good.
and that Aunt May was the one that gave him the lesson instead of Uncle
Sure,
Ben,
sure.
and you didn't even know that she was going to die. That was all
Yeah, that was a good
extremely
twist.
well done. Green Goblin was awesome.
Well, see that those are cameos though.
That's
Those
a
are
cameo,
cameos.
yeah.
Those are cameos. Because once you
All
saw
that-
that
no,
doctor,
what's his
because in the
name? Doc
preview,
Ock?
yeah, once you
Come
saw
on.
the previews,
Okay, cameo.
and
Okay,
Doc
old
Ock
school
was there.
nostalgia villains. I'll give you that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And in the
But I don't think it
promo,
was Tobey
when we
Maguire
saw those villains, we were like, "Oh shit, he came from this universe, so
Yeah.
they have to bring in this guy." So we knew. But what I'm saying is that play worked, and Marvel knows that it works, and Marvel banked on the fact that it was going to work, and you know they're not going to let something like that slip through the cracks.
Let's
and
just
that's
hope
what they're
that they
going to do
don't
with
cling to
Deadpool.
life on it and
Facts.
only use that.
Facts. Completely agree. And I think that with Deadpool, they are going to bring in the nostalgia play on that. But you know, Deadpool has always been entertaining and always been a fun ride, and the
But
characters
this is the
too.
first
Like I
Disney
feel like,
Deadpool.
and this is the first Disney, but it's also the first rated R Deadpool. So
First rated R Disney Deadpool.
versus rated R Disney Deadpool. So I'm interested to see why it's going to be rated R and how Disney is going to pull it off as
Well,
rated R.
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong, but when it comes to, because like Fox is still there, right? And Fox is still kind of like has,
I mean, it's owned by Disney, so
Yeah,
technically,
Fox doesn't have anything
but
anymore.
it's like its own
Yeah.
division though, right? It's not like a
yeah,
Well, it kind of
'cause,
feels like
like-
that because they haven't done anything with it yet.
right. So,
Right,
That's
so
what I'm
that's what I'm
saying.
saying,
They
like-
got 3 chances: Deadpool, Fantastic Four, because that was Fox owned, and X-Men, which is the biggest one. If you fuck up X-Men, you're done.
Sure.
They said that
But-
the guy that plays Harry Potter is Wolverine now,
Stop it.
or
Stop it.
he's a
Don't-
version of
don't.
Wolverine.
He might be a variant. Yeah, I also heard
Yeah.
the dude from The Boys, what's his name from The Boys is going to play a variant too.
I never judge like on actors, like
Yeah.
who play who, because if you can act, you can do it. Like look at Robert Pattinson, the Batman.
Oh yeah,
I thought he was great. And like,
I
I'm
hated that
sorry,
movie.
but you know,
I
Twilight
hated that
Boy,
movie.
you
Hated
wouldn't
it.
think.
It was the worst.
what?
Yeah, I hated that movie.
The
movie was
Batman?
the worst.
The Batman?
Yeah, the Batman was the
Outrage,
worst.
The Batman?
The Batman was the worst.
What?
Trash.
Why?
And to say and I say that I'm not a DC fan to begin with, so it has to be really good.
We have to get him back on another episode. I can't believe what I'm hearing.
Because
You got some. I will
have
say
my-
this, man. You got some.
Who do you
hot
think is the
takes.
best Batman then?
Yeah,
Who do you think
Huh?
is the best Batman?
the best Batman it would have to be Christian Bale. Have to be.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
Have to be.
I'd
and then
probably,
second
I'd probably
would-
go with it too.
Yeah, who's second?
Second, I would have to say Michael Keaton.
Yeah, I'd agree
Third?
with that too.
Third, I'll put Robert Pattinson above George Clooney.
There you
I
go.
guess. But
And Val
No,
Kilmer.
Ben Affleck.
and I will,
Where's Ben Affleck at?
Ben Affleck he fell off. He's not on the list. No, actually, I would put Ben Affleck
No, I put Ben Affleck
above-
before George Clooney and Val Kilmer.
above George Clooney. Yeah, but
And
I
Val
will
Kilmer.
say that I did, and Val Kilmer too. I did like the Batman more than I did.
It's funny how I didn't even
Batman
say
and
Val
Robin.
Kilmer because no one gave a shit. But
Right,
movie they
right.
forgot he
I
was
did
even
like
Batman.
the Batman better than Batman and Robin and all those cheesecake ones.
I think the only
But as
reason
far as,
people
a
remember Clooney
serious
is because of the
movie,
nipples.
What didn't you
Batman
like
was
about
trash
it?
in my
I got to
opinion.
hear this.
It was boring as fuck. It was hella boring, and he was way too emotional, looking like he was gonna cry the whole fucking movie. Like he was a pussy. I did not like Robert.
It was the second
Robert
year.
Pattinson.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
The
no,
second
I
year
didn't.
as
I didn't.
Batman.
nah, I didn't like Robert
You
Pattinson
have
as
so
Batman.
much
He didn't do it good.
empathy with Loki and all these
Yeah, I
Marvel
know,
movies, but
right? You think
you
he'd
have
like the
nothing
slow
towards the
burn, and you're
Batman.
just like,
I don't. It just didn't do it
Wait,
for
wait,
me.
okay,
It
okay,
just
okay, hold
wasn't
on, hold on, hold on,
convincing.
hold on,
I
hold
don't
on.
know what it was. It
I
just
gotta say
wasn't.
this because this. What do
I
you
think
okay?
maybe because it was
What do you
supposed to be
think
so
about?
real and dark. I was like, nigga, please.
What do you think about Andrew Garfield then as Spider Man? Did you like Spider Man?
I
The
didn't
Amazing
really
Spider
like
Man?
Andrew Garfield. No, I didn't really like. I didn't care for Andrew Garfield as Spider Man. No.
Okay, okay, that makes sense because I
Yeah,
feel
I
like
like.
Andrew Garfield, that Spider Man was so emotional. I felt like he
Yeah,
was crying every
yeah, no.
scene.
yeah.
Yeah, no. I liked Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man 1 and 2, and I didn't like Spider-Man 3. Spider-Man 3 was probably one of the worst Spider-Man movies to history to date.
Probably the worst. Yes,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
worst Spider-Man
yeah.
movie for sure.
But in the Andrew Garfield movies, I did like uh the special effects. I did like the actors that they brought in.
Give me the
I couldn't
candy.
complain about that.
You like
Yeah,
Jamie Foxx
yeah.
as Electro?
I mean, yeah, he did a good job. It wasn't like, I mean, who else was Electro? Who else would have done Electro in that way? Like, he did a good job in No Way Home. You know what I'm saying? Like,
He
it
was
was
so
pretty
much
good.
better in No Way Home.
Very, very much better in No Way Home. I didn't like the like pseudo nerd that they kind of like played up. Like, that was a little extra. I will
Well,
say
Electro was
that.
never a nerd, right? Wasn't it
Nah,
something else?
No.
yeah, no.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I'll
Yeah, we
say
gotta bring him
this
back.
about Andrew
And
Garfield Spider-Man. I enjoyed his Spider-Man because he was such like a punk and a dick. You know what I mean? Like just a
the
shit
first one,
talker. I liked him as Spider-Man. I did not like his Peter Parker. And it was like kind of the different.
Yeah.
I liked Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker, and I didn't like his Spider-Man as much. Because I read the comics, so like I know
Yeah, that
like how
makes
much
sense.
of a punk he is and stuff to
Yeah,
people, and there just
it's
wasn't
like
enough of that
a slick
in there when
talker.
exactly. When
Yeah,
Andrew
yeah,
Garfield was Spider-Man, he was on it.
yeah.
Like when
I
it
could
came
say that.
to so but Tom Holland I like both. I have no issue.
Sure,
Like
absolutely. Yeah,
he's
Tom
like the
Holland's a
complete
great.
Spider-Man to me. So
Yeah, for sure,
I really
for sure.
enjoyed his portrayal of it. And I really like, and this is why they're doing so good with Spider-Man, because they really have started him from the beginning as a kid going to high school into pretty much looks like he's going into college.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
the story that they're telling there, and as long as they don't change, their track record of who's writing it, or at least the level of talent that's on it,
yeah.
it should be fine.
It should be good. And I like how at the end of No Way Home, they made him very street level again. So I'd be very excited
Yeah.
to obviously see the team up between Spider-Man and Daredevil, and him take on Kingpin the way he should have been,
And
or
they
he
have
should have been
so many
involved.
options. That's the thing. Like
So many
because they
options, so many
basically left it almost
opportunities.
from not from scratch, but like now he's going to be in college. That's like the only
Right,
difference now. And he's
right.
been through all this stuff, so he has all this superhero experience, but no one knows
Foundation,
now,
yeah,
right? Yeah. So
yeah,
I mean, he just has to build those relationships
yeah,
again, which is
yeah.
fine.
I do think that there are going to be some good shows coming up, and I think Daredevil Born Again is going to be one of them.
When
And
they
I do
rewrite it,
think
yeah, because
when
they
they
already
rewrite
stopped
it,
like
they
production on
scrapped
it.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they scrapped
yep,
everything. They're like,
yeah.
dude, no, because
But
our
I do
bullshit
think,
isn't working anymore. We better
yeah,
actually write something good. That's basically
right.
what happened.
And incorporate some of the shit that like actually happens in the comics. Like we know now that um, in New World Order, the Captain America movie, there's a good chance that Kingpin's going to be mayor of New York or something,
Mm-hmm.
and that's going to help Thunderbolt Ross become president and all this stuff. So like, if they do it well, like I really see it having a shift and having some of these shows hold more weight than what it has been before. Because I think what they did is kind of put
I hope
everything out
Harrison Ford
that,
just isn't in it for the paycheck. I hope he tries to really put his best foot forward for that role,
yeah,
because
yeah, yeah,
you're
yeah. He's a good
actually
actor.
you're taking over for someone who did a really excellent job for
Man,
years. You
R.I.P. Yeah,
cannot
for sure.
don't disrespect him.
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely agree. And I think that like bringing in these big actors. Okay, here's a perfect example. Okay, perfect example. Thor: Love and Thunder. The movie was saved by Christian Bale. He was the reason why that movie was any type of good. Christian Bale played a perfect
I
God
can't
good
argue with that. To be honest, he was probably the best part of that movie, even
He was
though
the
the
agree.
best
movie
part of that
wasn't that
movie.
good at all. But
Yeah, he was the
he
best part
did
of that
what
movie.
he could with what he had. He put
Yeah,
everything
I
into
agree.
that performance. I feel
Yeah,
like
it was like it
he
was this
seemed like a
slapsticky
psycho.
movie, and
It
then
was
when
great.
he was on, yeah, it was like all this slapsticky lovey-dovey movie, and then when he was on, it was like, oh shit, like this is really happening. We're like invested now. Like, oh fuck, this is a real actor. He's really putting his heart into it. Fucking, let's go. You know what I
I can
mean?
agree with that. That's something we definitely agree on.
Yeah. So I mean, if they do that same formula minus the hokey pokey shit, if they really like have these actors use their acting chops, and that was something in Eternals. It was like, you know, you have Angelina Jolie, who's not always a good actress, but at least she's like a big name, and you have all these other actors that like Selma Hayek that obviously took a big chunk of the budget. It's like at least if you're bringing these people on,
Camille
like have them.
Nanjiani was quite good. I was surprised.
Yeah. Oh no.
It
Yeah.
was
What's her name? Yeah. Icarus's girl. Yeah. No, for sure. There was definitely some good points to it, but what I was thinking is that if you're bringing on these big actors, they really have to shine and they really have to do their part to make the movie something credible and worth and have rewatchability. That's another issue with a lot of these shows and movies that are coming out. It's like, sure, I'll watch it once, but am I going to watch it again?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I would say 50% of what's come out, I will never watch again. Like I'll never watch She-Hulk again.
Oh,
I'll never
I'm
watch
changing
Miss Marvel
I'm
again.
changing my chances to 4. You got Deadpool, Fantastic Four, X-Men, and Blade. Blade.
Blade's already having rocky start.
I know exactly.
I
But that'd
would
be a good one
love to
though.
be
If you
optimistic
could do
about.
Blade well, I think that would bring a lot of people back in.
I mean, shit. If you
Was
could do
Blade Fox
the
also?
No,
Or was
no
that Sony?
no, it was neither.
But they got a really good actor doing Blade.
No.
Oh yeah, for sure.
No, what Blade was? Who was it under before Marvel got
Sony,
it?
I think.
It was Sony, right?
Well, Sony,
Blade
no.
3
I think
Blade 3 was
no. I think
no,
they
it was
have
20th Century Fox, right?
Was
Fox.
it
Okay.
Fox?
I don't know.
Because
I
New
don't know.
Line
Blade
Cinema,
1
no,
and
no,
2.
because New Line Cinema did Blade.
Right, that's who
I'm
it was.
sure
New
of
Line
it.
Cinema.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because Blade 3
So I
was
think they had the
Marvel.
license to it no matter what.
Blade 3 was trash.
Yeah, Blade 3
the
was under
worst
Marvel.
piece of shit ever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't be, and that's another one I can't be hyped up for. Like I would love to be fucking hyped up for fucking Blade, but it's just
What I'm
like,
saying,
fuck.
like that's another good chance. If you do it well,
Chance. I
you're
mean, if you
bringing
do it
people
well,
back in. Like
honestly, like I would love to see like the Midnight Suns. And
I would
shit.
love
Like,
to see the
I
Midnight
would love
Suns.
for
Oh
them to
my
do
god.
something like that. But it's like, are they going to do it? You know what I mean? Like, are they going to do it? How can they do it? Will they do it? It's like those are some shit that those are things that like I feel like fans really want to see.
Yeah.
And for the most part, Kevin Feige does listen to fans, kind of. But it's like, is it going to play over for a wider audience? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I feel like they do have a chance to come back, but at the same time, I would love to be pleasantly surprised with a lot of these projects.
They got 4 chances to come back.
Coming up. Yeah, but I do think that there are going to be some good things coming up. I am excited for, like, obviously the Deadpool, like you mentioned, that should be great. And considering that that's going to be apparently the only Marvel movie to come out next year or something, which I thought that Thunderbolts was going to come out, which could be real dope.
Thunderbolts could be cool. Yeah,
could be cool
because I like the characters that they're putting in it.
Yeah, but then Captain America would have to come out first because Thunderbolt Ross was the one who put together Thunderbolts. So it's like,
yeah,
what are they
Captain
do
America
first?
and then Thunderbolt.
Captain America, then Thunderbolts. Yeah,
It's not like they can't change that though. It's not like they haven't changed other continuities from the comics to the you know.
Right.
So
Right.
it doesn't
And,
have
you
to
know,
be
that's
that
another.
way. You'd like it to be that way to, you know, to be true to the comics, but that doesn't mean they're gonna do it.
Yeah. And that's another thing too, like the amount of changing that they have done from the comics to cinematic, um, uh, translation. It's like we got to accept that it's not going to be the same. I've accepted that it's not going to be what the comics were. It's going to be Hollywood versions of the comics. So it's like you have to take it with a grain of salt. My expectations, I try to manage my expectations when it comes to Marvel, honestly, and that's one of the reasons why I feel like people who felt like they should have stopped after Endgame got to manage your expectations. Ron Deasy, you got to manage your expectations. Okay, like it's nothing's going to be Endgame again. Okay, but at the same time, like we've pointed out, they have such the ability to do these great things, and we've come to a point where it's like you can't go backwards. You can't make these piece of shits uh, projects after you've established such great um, established movies. And again, with the shows, it's just like, fuck. Like you said earlier, as far as throwing shit at the wall, seeing what sticks. I feel like that's what these shows are. Like they're really trying to rushing introductions of all these characters and stuff, and seeing what people gravitate towards, so that maybe the ones that are really popular they'll put into a movie. But
Well, that's definitely
I
what
know
they're
Miss
doing
Marvel.
for
I
sure.
know Miss Marvel wasn't that popular of a show for it to be like, oh, okay, let's put this in a movie. It's like it was planned that way, and it's like it's not necessarily working as well because they're not gauging it based on public interest. You know, and when it comes to these shows, it's like, you know, I really appreciate the different types of shows that they're doing. Like I really enjoyed What If. I really
Mm-hmm.
enjoyed
Yeah.
Werewolf by Night, because they were
Mm-hmm.
so
Werewolf
unique.
by
They
Night
were
was really well done.
you know what I mean? They were unique. They were
Yeah. My
standalone. They
wife liked
weren't
that
like
one too.
trying to be, they weren't trying to be like something else. It was just like, I really liked it for what it was. Like What If, I really fucking liked. There was a couple episodes that were weak, but for the most part, I really loved what they did with Ultron and bringing in the Watcher. It was great.
Yeah. The only
So
thing I'm gonna say about what you said is that, listen,
yeah,
temper expectations. That's fine. Not everything has to be Endgame, but it has to be at a certain level where it's just nowhere near at right now.
facts,
Doesn't have to be
facts.
Endgame. We're not saying everything has to be Endgame. Would you say, DZ? Would you agree with that? Are you saying everything has to be Endgame level?
No.
No. And I think a lot of these audiences aren't saying that either. I think that most of them are just like, I don't want poop. Okay,
Yeah.
give me,
Yeah.
give me. I don't know. What's the, again? Thor 1. I take that
Sure.
after
Well,
what we've
I'll
been
take it.
getting out
As long
right
as it's
now.
not Captain America, First Avenger, I'm good.
That's very hurtful.
So
I really enjoyed
yeah,
that
it is.
movie.
It's terrible. I fucking hated that movie. God damn it. I would love to never see that movie ever again. But on that
Slow
note,
burn. Doesn't like the slow burns.
I do want to go down these lists that I created of my top to bottom
Yeah, let's hear it.
shows since Endgame, and then I'm going to go through my top to bottom movies since Endgame.
Okay.
Okay, these are my shows
Since
top.
Endgame.
Since Endgame.
Okay.
These are my shows. Okay. At the top, we have Loki. Okay.
Number 1.
Coming in number 2 was WandaVision. Number 3 was What If. Number 4, Moon Knight. Number 5, Falcon and Winter Soldier. Number 6, Werewolf by Night. Number 7, I put She-Hulk. Okay. I put She-Hulk above Guardians Holiday Special and above I Am Groot. And then I have Hawkeye, Miss Marvel, and Secret Invasion.
Wait. You
Now,
said Miss Marvel is above Hawkeye?
no, I went, but I did put She-Hulk above
Oh,
Hawkeye.
She-Hulk above Hawkeye.
I did put
Wow.
She-Hulk above Hawkeye. Yeah.
Guys got some hot takes, DZ.
Yeah.
I did put
But
She-Hulk above
remember,
Hawkeye.
awesome. We said
We'll call them hot docs.
Yeah. Remember, we said after a while we appreciated She-Hulk for what it was. It wasn't trying to be like a banger, right? It was really like
Right.
what it was. We're
It was
like,
a
yeah,
comedy.
if you accept it for
It
what it
was
is,
comedy.
you'll
It was
love
the
it
most
or you'll like it.
comical
Yeah.
show of
There's
all
nothing
of them so far.
serious. Yeah, it was just a good movie to
You accept
show
it
to
for
watch.
what it was. You like some episodes.
Yeah.
Some episodes.
Where's Miss Marvel at?
Miss Marvel was second to last
And what
before
was
Secret
last?
Invasion. Secret Invasion.
Ooh. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a tough spot right there.
Yeah,
'Cause
Secret
both of those are
Invasion was the
trash.
worst.
I mean, Secret Invasion
the-
has to be last.
Yeah, it has to be last. And one of the worst things that I disliked about Secret Invasion, while we're on the topic, is that it was too much talking. It was too much talking about what was happening in background and not enough showing. It was like the conversation between Nick Fury and Talos. It was like they were talking about all the shit that was happening and all the secret shit, but we didn't see any of it. So
You know
it was
what?
like,
You know what? I'm fine with
what are we
talking.
doing?
How about good dialogue?
Or good dialogue. It wasn't enough good dialogue. It was like it's just boring.
Again, talking is the writing, and that's like the part that they suck at. That's why. And when you do a show that's mostly talking, and you have crap writers, it shows real fast.
Yeah,
I
because
liked Gravik. I liked Gravik.
Because me, Mr.
Gravik,
Awesome,
it was just like
a lot of people that didn't like Andor. I don't know if you watched Star Wars.
Oh, man, Andor was so good.
We liked it because we liked it was a lot of talking there, but it was good dialogue.
Andor.
Oh, you hate Andor?
I hated Andor.
He doesn't like slow burns.
Okay, let's
let's
go back to Marvel. My mistake.
The thing about Andor, and just real side note.
I will tell you though,
I liked every 3 episodes because that was what the action episodes that happened, right? And the in between, it was just like, okay,
Andor is very split with people, dude. So like, you can't even get upset when someone says they don't like Andor, because it's like, it's not like they didn't give it a chance. It's like your personality shows if you like Andor or not.
Sure.
It's true with that show.
I don't like.
It's like your personality is what divides you between one or the other. Doesn't mean you're wrong or right.
Yeah.
It's just, if you didn't like Andor, you're just not that type of person that likes that type.
Wait, so I'm guessing you didn't like Batman versus Superman, the movie.
Hated it.
Yeah, that's a really slow. Yeah, that's a really slow movie.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Why did you say that name? Like the whole Martha thing, like, get the fuck out of here. I think what's his name is a good Superman. I think Boy is a good Superman.
I don't like
Henry Cavill. Yeah, I don't like Ben Affleck. I don't like Ben Affleck as Batman.
I loved.
I will tell you. But I will tell you, I did not like Justice League until I saw Snyder Cut. I did not like Justice League.
Those are two.
Snyder Cut.
They're completely different movies. Yeah,
completely different
two
movies.
different
Snyder
movies.
Cut was beautiful.
It was so funny too, because you
done.
hear about that and you're like, man, they do this and it changes the movie completely. And it's basically the same movie, but this one literally, they were two different movies. Like, it was insane.
One
That's
was
never
an art
happened
piece.
before.
Yeah. One was like a slapsticky teenage fucking
Yeah.
Erkenjerg.
I couldn't believe how different they were. And there was no reshoots either, right? That no one was coming back for reshoots. They just used all the footage that they had, and they made this pretty damn good movie.
Yeah. Well, so Dox Black, with your show, I have to agree with your list. I think.
Yeah.
I think the only difference I put is Hawkeye above.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I gotta go high with Hawkeye. I really enjoyed that show. That might be my favorite out of all of them.
Really?
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with that show. I was never bored. I thought the dialogue was good. I thought the story was good. I thought the characters were interesting.
I was like, come on with that shit with the LARPing and all the shit. I'm like, come on.
What was that?
The LARPing, fucking, the LARPing shit. I'm like, come on with that shit. Like, I see what you're trying to do, and honestly, I have trouble with Christmas theme shows.
Oh, okay.
I have trouble digesting that.
I actually watched Hawkeye
even with the Guardians holiday special. It was all right.
I didn't even think of that, to be honest, but I like the Guardians holiday special.
Yeah, I like certain elements of it. Again, like, and I think that's also where my list ranks is because
I would put
certain
it below
elements,
Hawkeye. I can't believe you put it
certain
above Hawkeye.
certain
That's
elements I liked better than certain elements. Like I really liked Hawkeye's incorporation of Kingpin. That was fucking amazing. I loved how they fucking shot him. She shot him in the eye, like in the comics and shit like that. I really loved that part. And what's her name from Black Widow?
Oh yeah, that
The
was yeah.
sister. She made Black Widow. She made that movie. The sister from
oh yeah.
Black
Yelena
Widow.
Belova. Yeah.
Yeah, she made that movie, and I loved her appearance and her energy in Hawkeye. She would probably be one of the main reasons why I enjoyed Hawkeye. Besides, I like Jeremy Renner.
Yeah. Also, Haley Steinfeld, I think, was awesome.
Yeah, she does pretty good. She
Who,
is pretty
Kate?
good.
Yeah, Kate Bishop. Yeah.
Yeah, and I hate to say it, like I don't like when Marvel hits it too hard on the head, and I feel like with a lot of these shows, they've been subtly introducing young Avengers, but doing it in a way where it's like really hitting the nail too hard on the head. And Kate Bishop was one of them, and I'm like, God damn it, okay, we get it. She's a young Avenger, like sure, like fuck. But Young Avengers should be interesting. I mean, it's a collection of interesting, characters, and if they do it right, White Vision and all the shit, like it could be cool. I don't know if they're gonna do it, if they're gonna actually. I mean, I know that they kind of hinted towards it at
Oh no, they
Comic Con and
definitely
all
want to
stuff.
do
But
it. I mean, that's why
yeah,
they showed the kids again and stuff like that. And
yep,
yeah,
yep.
they're
And then
definitely
and
gonna
then
do it.
actually I know you guys haven't seen Miss Marvel, but at the end of Miss Marvel recruits Kate Bishop. So, spoiler alert.
Oh, in the
Oh, the
Marvels.
Marvels.
In the
Okay.
Marvels, yeah.
I
Yeah,
thought
at
the
the
best thing
very
about
end
it,
of it.
I didn't watch it, but I thought the best thing about that movie was Beast and the X-Men.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, I heard
And
about
it's
that too.
yeah, as a secret ending, yeah, they did bring in
And
Beast,
that's the
and
original Beast, right? From
yeah, what's his name?
uh
Frazier.
X-Men with Last Stand. Yeah.
Yep, yep.
That
X2.
that I love that Beast. That design
Yeah, yeah, they did a good
spot
job.
on.
Yeah, they did a good job. He did a better job than the most recent. And we didn't even get into like the X-Men movies because a lot of them have been pieces of shit. I did like the ones with Michael Fassbender as Magneto. Those were all cool. I didn't like Dark Phoenix. I like was borderline of liking
Well, Dark
the
Phoenix is
one.
still Fassbender.
Yeah. No, I didn't like Dark Phoenix. Dark Phoenix was a piece of shit.
What
Any of
about
the Phoenix
I was
Apocalypse?
thinking
movies.
the Apocalypse. That's the one I was thinking of. I think they didn't do Apocalypse well.
Okay.
I
I
think
actually
they
liked Apocalypse.
no, I think they undershot the
It was
character.
okay.
I think
The
yeah, it was
first movie
okay.
though, the First Class, that was pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I liked First Class for sure.
Yeah,
I
it
loved what
felt
they
more
did
grounded.
with, I loved what they did with
Days of Future
Quicksilver.
Past.
Days of Future Past was meh. It was
Yeah.
meh. Obviously, I really loved Logan, and I really loved pretty much all the Wolverine
Logan
movies.
is fantastic.
Really?
Yeah, I pretty much loved all the Wolverine movies. I
I
mean,
thought
even
Wolverine and the Wolverine were just as equal as Captain America: First Avenger.
what?
Yes.
Yeah, dude, they're not that
Wow.
good.
Wait, which one? Wait. The Wolverine is the one in Japan
Yeah.
with Silver Samurai.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
Um,
Poor of Excuse of Silver Samurai.
Sure.
Yeah.
And Wolverine was the one
Origins.
with Sabretooth. Origins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Wolverine
Gambit.
Origins. That one was meh as fuck. That one wasn't that great.
They
No,
both
I
were
didn't really
meh as
like
fuck.
that one. Yeah, no, the Wolverine was pretty interesting. I would have.
Why?
I still. I don't know. I think it's because
Is it because they had a ton of action?
sure, there you go, yeah. But also, I liked the setting in Japan and how that played into like his history. Like I enjoyed like the whole like him saving the life of the old boy from Hiroshima and all that shit. Like I like that storyline. But I definitely feel like they could have done Silver Samurai better. And one thing about Wolverine that I'm yet to fucking ever get any inclination of is Omega Red. So that would be cool to even get anything that
Oh
incorporates
yeah.
something like that. So that would be kind of cool. So I don't know. I mean, I definitely think that X-Men has had its flops in the past. Um, but I think it definitely has had its excellent moments, and that was a good stepping stone into what Marvel is doing now. But I think it's also a good representation of how Marvel has its flops too, has its misses. You know, even with X-Men, they've had their
Yeah, but
misses,
that's Fox. So
and that's Fox. Again, that's Fox.
yeah.
Yeah,
So that's I'm
but
saying that the
I don't know.
MCU
They
has their
absorbed it, so
shot
now
right
it's
now
like
with the
fuck.
X Men. Again, that's one of the big three that they really can't screw
Yeah,
up. So they can take as
yeah,
much time as they want with it, as long as they do it right. I don't care. It could come out
yeah,
4 years from now if it's good.
yeah. Which I think that they're gonna do. I think they're gonna. The next saga is gonna be the mutant saga. I think, from what I'm hearing, but like, who fucking knows at this point? You know, like, um, I think that the whole incorporating them now slowly is kind of cool. Like, obviously, you know, with Multiverse of Madness, bringing out Professor X, the classic Professor X, having Miss Marvel in her show. Talk, you know, he's like, "Oh, you have a mutant gene," and like, you know, they're hinting towards it
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
but
yeah. The
like,
little music at the end of Miss
you know what I
Marvel.
mean?
Yeah,
But like,
yeah, I heard it.
how they actually incorporate it is going to be one of the ways that they save the entire franchise for sure.
Okay, so one question before we because we got to end pretty
Wrap it
soon,
up?
I'm
Yeah,
sure. But
absolutely.
what did you like about Loki season 2?
Okay, what did I like about Loki season two? I really liked the writing. I liked the intricacies that they brought about with um, Victor Timely, and keeping it suspenseful to where we don't know if or not, um, he was who we interpreted uh, he who remains as. Now, one thing that I will point out, some people love to wait till the end of series and binge it all the way through. I don't know if you guys are those kind of guys, but some people like to do that, right? Me personally, I enjoy, as it comes out, watching it and having that, I did the same thing with like Breaking Bad when it came out. I watched it, episode by episode, week to week and shit. And so it kind of like left you on cliffhangers. So that's something that I really enjoyed with this series, is that each episode was kind of a cliffhanger until the next one. It wasn't necessarily like, oh, that was, what the fuck was that for? It was like, oh shit, what's going to come next? What's going to happen? I really like the anticipation that they built up. Um, Even though certain parts were confusing, I definitely felt like by the end of it, it really made sense why He Who Remains chose Loki to be that person at the end of time to replace him. And I do like the fact that, like, at the end of it all, Loki was the one who ended up being the god of stories, who basically rewrote, the sacred timeline as we know it. So I definitely feel like it offered enough questions and provided enough answers within its own storytelling. It wasn't like it made everything clear, but it wasn't like it was just like pointless. It definitely went somewhere. And especially from the ending of season one to the ending of season two, I definitely felt like we went somewhere. We got to a point, we realized who the real villain is. We got to a solution, and it wasn't like everything was tied neatly in a bow. It was just like, we got a little bit of everything,
So you
in
liked
my
Victor
personal opinion.
Timely, and you
Um,
liked the ending.
well, I definitely liked the carrying on of the story from one episode to the next, and I also liked um, the the thing about Victor Tommy that I liked, and I didn't like necessarily everything about Victor Tommy because I felt like it was kind of a cheesy character, but I did like how they made it seem like he was a key element to what was going on, when in reality that was just probably a plan from He Who Remains to make it seem that way. So that's something that I feel like Jonathan Majors did real well and does real well, is play all these different types of Kangs. And I feel like also Loki is the first real introduction that we get of Kang into the multiverse. So into the multiverse saga. So I do feel like Loki is very pivotal as far as letting us know where we are in this multiverse saga. So that's one of the things that I really enjoyed about it, is that with all these scattered stories and
So you
new
like that you finally got a
characters,
piece of the puzzle.
piece of the puzzle. Absolutely. I absolutely like that part about it.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, was it confusing as shit? Absolutely. Were there parts where I was like, wait, what about this and what about that? Sure, absolutely as well. It wasn't very clean cut, like this is the story, we're gonna go through this, and that happened, and conflict, climax, and resolution. Like that wasn't the story we got. It was very circular, very like fold back on itself. And actually, I felt like it did time travel and time slipping better than Endgame did. Watching Endgame again, I just watched Endgame again, and a lot of it didn't make sense as far as like certain time travel elements
Yeah,
to it. That
there are certain issues with Endgame,
there were
but
some issues with
yeah.
Endgame. I mean, I really think that what sold it, and Infinity War is way better than Endgame in my
Yeah,
opinion.
I would
But
agree with that.
but the only thing that really made up for it in Endgame was the final battle. I still get goosebumps watching fucking everybody come through fucking Doctor Strange's fucking shit and watching the whole squad come through. Literally, I will get goosebumps watching that final battle and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there was still some plot holes in the time travel essence. So in that regard, I feel like Loki did a better example of time travel, time slipping kind of thing.
Okay.
You know, was confusing, but I definitely do think that it gave us a piece of the puzzle and more information on Kang and where he fits. And I'd love to see where Loki now fits in the grand scheme of things. And I also will love to see, if it ever happens, love to see Thor and Loki meet again now that Loki has gone through this arc of now kind of becoming a hero. If in fact he even became a hero, if in fact Loki is still kind of in his heart of hearts wants to just rule, and this was his way of ruling in his own way, shape, or form. You know what I mean? Like, who knows? I don't know. Did we get those answers? I don't know. But I would love to see like where Thor and Loki's arc is represented in the grand scheme of things.
Okay.
And Tom Hiddleston is a great actor. Tom Hiddleston plays.
Well,
Loki
yeah,
great.
I mean, just whatever he does, he puts a lot of
Yeah.
all in it.
He's a great actor.
So yeah,
for sure, he did it well. And the supporting cast was great. Great supporting cast. So
All right.
I guess I got to ask you guys. Okay, now that you asked me that, what didn't you like about Loki, either season 1, season 2, or both of them in general?
I liked Loki season 1. I had no issue with at least season 1, actually. Season 2, I just didn't feel, I don't know, I didn't feel invested. And the story again was very confusing, just like, you know, me and DZ discussed. And by the time you actually kind of got a grip of it, I feel like I wasted a lot of time doing nothing. Like a lot of the things that they did were kind of pointless. Like the whole, I don't know. I don't really know how to put it, man. I can only say that I was really, really confused for the majority of the show. And I feel like we went almost just right back to square one from where we started from the beginning.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Agree.
It was like everything. So that's kind of what I mean. I feel like everything that they did was like pointless. Right?
Yeah,
You're back to square
sense.
one, right? You started with you're confused for a while, then you finally know what's going on. You're trying to prevent what's going on, and it happens regardless what you did.
Well, I mean, it was an Ouroboros, right? It was an Ouroboros from the very beginning. That's what it was, right? And it's very reflective of the sacred timeline being a circle, and the fact that they talked about how intricate it was, that it was going to go back to the beginning. So I definitely feel like each episode in season 2 reflected each episode in season 1 in its own way. And obviously in the last episode it showed that even, in even more specific scale, whereas it was basically the same episode but done differently. So I feel like the whole show, season 1 and season 2, was a complete circle of itself, but just in a different form. And that's the whole thing leading into Kang Dynasty. How is Loki going to help break that cycle? It's like that's really what I took from it, was like Loki now is going to have to play a huge part moving forward, whether it's like him creating a multiversal Avengers like the Watcher did in What If, or if he's going to be the key to breaking Kang's cycle the way that he broke it in season 2.
Or what if you somehow made him the villain?
Somehow made him the villain. Loki has always wanted power. He's always wanted fucking, to rule, and maybe this is his chance to be overloaded with that responsibility, and it's going to go to his head and go to his heart.
With everything going on with Jonathan Majors, Disney's already said they're not moving forward with him. So either they're replacing they're replacing the actor,
or
they're going to change their.
I'm glad we talked about this. I'm glad we talked about this.
Because you could shift that. You could make Loki the villain, and that actually might work. The problem is that you're negating everything he already went through to become a better person.
It will. That arc, I feel like, is something that they're going to play on, and they are going to make him kind of a heroic guy. But I also do think that the only reason why they would move away from Jonathan Majors, and really, there's no proof that to this date that Jonathan Majors is guilty or is going to be incriminated further from what he already is dealing with.
Oh yeah, no, so I agree with that. There's definitely nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
But I honestly feel like them saying that was because Secret Wars, as an event in the comics, always had more to do with Doctor Doom than it ever had anything to do with Kang. So when they say, "Oh, we're going to move away from Kang," I think what they really mean is we're going to shift to Doctor Doom the way that they did in the comics. That's my personal.
It's funny you mentioned Doctor Doom, because Doctor Doom is from Fantastic Four.
Right, and he's from Fantastic Four, and
you don't care about Fantastic Four.
No, well, I just don't. I'm just not because A, they haven't done Doom well in the past.
They haven't.
B, they haven't done Galactus well in the past. And so from what I'm hearing, Fantastic Four's villain is supposed to be Galactus, and it's like, all right, you better do it well. You better do Galactus well. I don't want to see no fucking Cloud like they did in Rise of Silver Surfer or whatever, and like pretend that he's there. I want to fucking see Galactus eat a goddamn planet, the whole shit, right? But I also want to see Doctor Doom, and I really would have loved to see Doctor Doom in Black Panther 2, because
a lot of people were rumoring that. Yeah,
you know what I mean? In the comics, he is next door to Wakanda in Latveria or whatever the fuck. So like, I really was hoping that they would start introducing Doctor Doom, because if they are going to shift from Kang to Doctor Doom being the big bad for Secret Wars, then it really has to be done where we're invested in who Doctor Doom is.
Yeah,
and I think
and you can't just give him like completely right. I mean, you should build him up.
Yeah,
and
got to build him up. And I definitely feel like if they're going to shift away from Jonathan Majors as Kang, the Kang Dynasty, at the end of Kang Dynasty, Doctor Doom's going to steal his power, and or the Kang in Quantumania disappeared into the Beyondverse, and he's actually going to represent the Beyonders, and then Doctor Doom's going to steal the power from him as the Beyonders, like in the comics, and then he's going to become the big bad for Secret Wars.
DZ, okay.
That's the only way.
The Beyonders and all this other stuff is
that too far? Is that too far?
It's too complicated
too far for a lot of people.
And it just made me, while you guys are talking, it made me think about some other stuff like Loki. It makes you think about, okay, who is over who? Because I thought I thought the Watcher was like outside of time.
Yeah, you could say that. I think the Watcher
But then
is
Kang is
outside of
outside of
time.
time too, right?
Kang was at the end of time.
And yeah, see, it just I don't know.
So
You know what,
whereas
I know little about, because I I think I'm basing a lot of this stuff off like the video games I played, and off of like the what if, right? Because
Mhm.
the Watcher is some supreme being that he could change time, or he could
But he can't get
alter some
involved.
events.
He
Huh?
can't get involved. He can't get involved.
He's not
He
supposed
did
to,
a
but
little
he
bit, but he's
could.
not supposed to. He could.
Yeah. And
But
then we have like
we don't know why he doesn't get involved. We don't know, the
I
hierarchy. I
still say
definitely
Stan
say
Lee was the Watcher.
they said he was supposed to be. They didn't say that he was supposed to be something like that. He was supposed to be like
he worked for the
To
Watchers.
me, he is.
Yeah.
Yeah. He
So yeah,
actually
it's just like it
the
makes me think
character that
about
he
who is the
played.
hierarchy now. Is it Loki? Is it still Kang pulling the strings? Um, I guess we could say Galactus is not, or he's not a threat, or maybe
No,
he is, but
no.
not to Kang. So yeah, it
Um,
just yeah,
nah.
a lot going on.
Galactus is similar to like the Celestials, like as far as size
Yeah.
and hierarchy.
Which is why
He's
they
right
can
there
do
with
him better,
Celestials.
because they really have technology to do him better now. I
Yeah.
feel that they definitely displayed the scope of how large those Celestials were pretty well.
Mhm.
So
I'd say so.
But
But as far as like the Watcher and where he stands with everything, I definitely feel like in the hierarchy of Kang and the Beyonders and Watchers, I think the Watchers are going to be up higher than Kang and Doctor Doom will be. But at the same time, I think the Beyonders are beyond the Watcher. So like if Doctor Doom steals the power of the Beyonder, then he can rewrite reality like in Secret Wars. And I really hope that they do Battle World the way it's supposed to be done,
yeah,
where he uses the powers of the Beyonders and brings all these pieces from all the incursions and all the shit that's happening for the universe dying and collapsing on itself, and he brings it to one thing, and they use a whole phase 6 or phase 7, just on Battle World. That would be fucking amazing. That's all I'm going to say about that. That would be fucking amazing. I really hope they do shift from Jonathan Majors to Doctor Doom for that reason.
I think that's a good spot to end it.
Yep. Yes, sir.
yeah,
So yeah, I mean, I got faith in Marvel, and I've enjoyed what they've done, and even their misses, I've enjoyed at least a little bit. And there's success in failures. So even in their moments of failure, just like Captain America, for the first Avenger, as a failure, it's sprung so many other good projects. So you got to have a failure to get the gold.
yeah. Well, yeah. I don't think I got nothing else.
Yeah, I think I'm good.
I think I already told you why I don't like Loki. It's just too confusing.
Sure.
Now I
Sure.
know there's these Beyonders now. I'm just like, yeah, no. I think I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stick to DC. We're
I
simple.
know you lying. I know you ain't talking like DC.
We'll talk about DC another day, though. I want to bring it
with the
back.
Crisis
Sure.
on Infinite Earths and all that shit.
Oh
That shit
man,
gets
excuse
super
me.
confusing.
Yeah. We'll love to have you back, and we can talk about why
For
you don't
sure.
like DC and everything, and just
For sure.
yeah. But I don't know where Miss Option's going, but yeah, I think that's it for now. While he's gone, if you give me a quick answer, I got a
Yep.
question.
Okay.
This is really off topic.
Mhm.
For Wakanda Forever,
Okay.
do you think they should have recasted Black Panther, or you think they should have went with Shuri? Do you think they made a good decision going with Shuri?
Okay. Well, I think in the comics, I think Shuri did take over for a bit.
She eventually, yeah.
Yeah, and I think as a movie, it was a beautiful send off, a beautiful dedication to Chadwick. Um, I like certain elements about that movie. Do I think that he should have been recasted? I'm gonna say no. I think that the way that they incorporated not only Shuri as the Black Panther and also uh, basically recasted him as his son as the recasting made it more realistic. I think it would, recastings are very hard to do, and it's also like very unrealistic. Like I almost like hate when they recast so much, but just recasting once isn't that bad. It's just like if they're gonna recast it, they have to make it make sense.
Sorry,
Like
guys. I
they
tried to hold it. I couldn't. I had to go.
Oh no, you're all good.
So
I
much
think
coffee.
recasting. I think recasting is gonna happen, but if they're going to do it, make it make sense. Don't just throw in another character and expect us to. Don't just Don Cheadle the Terrence Howards. You know what I'm saying? And expect it just fly. Like give it a reason. Give it something like like I don't know. There was a like when I hope when they reintroduce Thunderbolt Ross, they have some sort of like I don't know. Maybe it was gamma radiation made him look different, or whatever the case may be. Make it make sense. You know what I mean?
Well,
So should they have recast it? In my opinion, no.
well, I think all the instances you gave, well, we know why they recasted Thunderbolt Ross because the original actor passed away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With Terrence Howard, we still don't know the real reason. Terrence Howard said they didn't pay him enough.
Yeah,
They
I'm
were
pretty
gonna pay
sure
him
he
enough.
asked for more money.
Yeah, he was like, I want Robert Downey money. He was like,
Yeah.
you ain't Robert Downey.
So, but for this one, Chadwick passed away, so it would make sense to if they recast it, people would know. Just like
Yeah.
didn't they recast somebody in Harry Potter, the Dumbledore?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never watched it. I
passed,
never watched one of those movies.
Yeah, well, one of the head wizards,
Feel sorry
the
for you.
actor passed away, and they recasted him.
I'd be down, but I just
the reason why I asked, and I think it was a tough decision for Marvel and the director, but a lot of people were saying like, yeah, we only got like 4 movies that involved Black Panther, and then we have to give him, no more Black Panther. Now we have Shuri. I was like, oh yeah, there was so much more that Black Panther could have done.
Oh yeah, they had plans for him too. He was a very popular character.
Yeah,
very popular.
So
yeah, I think the way that they're gonna incorporate it is gonna be more of like that of a younger Black Panther, therefore giving it a longer lifespan. You know what I mean? Like not to say that like Chadwick wouldn't have been able to play it for a long time, but I think the way that they did it is to kind of like extend that character's relevance or lifespan beyond, him passing away. I don't think Shuri's going to be Black Panther for very long, I guess would be how I would put that. I think they're going to pass it to the son, and he's eventually going to become Black Panther. In the future, I mean, and it would be easy to kind of recast the kids. It's easy to recast the kids. I mean, look how many times they recasted Ant-Man's daughter. You know what I mean? They recast her like 2-3 times or whatever. As they grow older, it's easy to recast them. So
I honestly think that's why they're waiting for Young Avengers, though. I think they're going to use those kids.
Absolutely, and I think that honestly, they're going to do the same thing with Black Panther. They're probably going to pass it down. Shuri's going to play it maybe for 1, maybe 2 more, something or other. If they do a spin-off show, maybe, and maybe another movie, but who knows? And what's his name? Namor. They're probably going to have to recast him too, because now he's going through all the, sexual assault allegations as well.
Boy.
Yeah, him, the Flash, like, hey, there's a lot of recasting that happens.
The Flash from CW. Oh no, you're talking about Ezra Miller.
Ezra, yeah.
Oh yeah,
he's done. I just saw the casting for the new Superman and stuff like that. But again, that's a whole nother topic in DC and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But recasting happens, and I think as long as it's done tactfully, I think that it's perfectly fine.
Oh, did you see they're doing a Crisis cartoon? They're actually doing one of those animated movies
on Infinite Earth.
Those animated movies are usually pretty solid, man. I'm kind of excited about that.
Yeah. Hopefully, I mean, that was a good run. I really like that. I think that one of the reasons why I didn't like uh, Superman versus Batman was because they fucking played Doomsday.
Mm.
Played
Yeah.
Doomsday. That shit was a trash rendition of the death of Superman.
Yeah, dude.
Fuck
Doomsday
that. That
is
was like,
is a sick.
oh my god! That when that fucking comic dropped, the death of Superman, that was the most epic shit in my life at that time. You know what I mean? In all of our lives, you know, probably.
Yeah.
But the way that they did Doomsday was just poorly executed. So
yeah,
you know, that was one of the reasons why I didn't really.
It was
care
almost
for
like
that movie,
a Spider-Man 3. They
Yeah,
want to put all
facts.
these villains in there, and at the last
Facts.
minute,
I did
you're
not like
wow,
Spider-Man 3
come
for
on,
that
man.
reason. Why it was so bad.
It's actually fun to watch Doomsday animated movie and then watch Reign of Superman right after. It's pretty good. I like doing that.
Oh, the cartoon?
Yeah.
I could see that.
Because even that was done really well. I think a lot of the DC animated movies are done good. And this Crisis on Infinite Earths isn't one. It's like, I think 2 or even 3 that they're doing.
I could see
so
it.
they're really going to stretch
epic.
it and tell a good story. That's the crazy thing about DC. Like, they have okay movies, but they tell amazing stories. Why can't you do it in a movie?
Right.
I don't get it. I don't get it. Maybe it's the directors, or maybe it's just like how they did Justice League, where it was like they had this amazing movie and they just cut it down to like some teeny bopper fucking Justice League
Hollywood
bullshit.
Man.
I think it's probably the team at Warner Brothers, because they also make good. Have you seen the Mortal Kombat animation movies?
Yeah,
those are fire too.
Yep.
So I think it's like the animation team at Warner Brothers. So
that makes sense. Sense.
But anyways,
it's getting late.
It up. Yeah,
this is our good talking to you guys. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah,
that's what's up. I appreciate you guys' perspectives, man. I can tell that you guys are big time fans, and you know, it's good to talk with some nerds.
yeah, definitely. We appreciate you coming out. You know,
for sure.
You know, sharing your time with us. But like I said, we'll definitely have you back for another talk.
That was Hot Dox.
Hot Dox. That's what we're gonna do.
Hot takes.
Damn right.
Yep. But guys. Dox, we got a few minutes left. Tell them where they can find you at.
You can find all my music on doxblack.com, or you can go to IG, basically DXBLX on IG, or anywhere where you find your music, Dox Black, DOXBLACK. My newest album, Age of Enlightenment, right here. Yep. And then the newest project is coming out on January 1st. So keep on lookout for that. And man, you know, keep it lit.
Yes, sir. And then for those who are wondering, like I said, I've known Dox Black for a while, and we have a song out called Magic.
Yes, sir.
Found out
amazing
SoundCloud,
song.
YouTube. It was pretty cool seeing Dox Black in the studio and laying his verse. I was like, "Ooh, I gotta set my game up, man." You know, that's fire. Yeah, but again, it's called Magic. Mr. Awesome. Oh, and Ron DZ. You can find me, just my name, type my name anywhere, Ron DZ. I got my gaming channel, got music on all platforms. Mr. Awesome, tell me where they can find you at.
Oh yeah, you just find me either Mr. Awesome's _ neighborhood or just Mr. Awesome's space neighborhood, and that's just MR, not like the whole MISTER, just MRAWESOMES.
What's your game now you're playing? What fighting game?
Right now,
Street Fighter 6?
So I just jumped back into Dragon Ball FighterZ because they actually did a rollback netcode beta test that they're doing. So I'm playing that right now, but it's not going very well. I don't think the rollback netcode's that good. But Street Fighter 6 is mostly what I'm playing right now. Yeah.
Cool. All right, guys. Thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you guys subscribe to us. We're on Spotify also. We need some more subscribers. Show us some more love. We got some. It's our longest podcast, so can we at least get 2 more subscribers for this? That's all we're asking for. But anyways, guys, thank you. See you guys next time.
For sure. Appreciate y'all.
Awesome. Dox Black. We're out.
Big up.
Peace.